Learning that Kamala Harris is coming out with a new book talking about the shortest campaign in the history of our nation. And Tom, are you surprised that she has a book deal? She also announced that she's not running for governor. Many are saying it's because she might be running for president in 2028.
You never know. People can never take the message. She should have took the message the first time when she couldn't beat Biden in the primary way back in the day. Is the name of the book Word Salad?
107 days. That's the amount of days, but similar. I mean, I would imagine there's a lot of word salad, and that's a video of her talking to an imaginary person on TikTok, asking why she was taking time off, and she said she needed a bit of a break. She needed to also meet with people on the ground, maybe something she should have done before running for president, or maybe while she was vice president, actually speaking to people and understanding the main problems, but she's taking some time now to do that. And in her 107 Days book, I can imagine she explains, and a lot of finger pointing as to why her campaign failed. I would think. I haven't read it, though.
Of course, but and how she blew over $1 billion. It takes a lot of effort to blow $1 billion in 107 days. Imagine that.
Right, and all the celebrities she had endorse her, Taylor Swift, Megan Thee Stallion,
throwing the money around,
throwing a Beyonce who didn't end up performing, even though she paid her. And she was on Stephen Colbert's show, on The Late Show, talking about all of this. Of course, his show is coming to an end as well, so maybe he feels like he has free reign to discuss
the old saying, misery loves company.
Yes.
You remember that saying? I'm sure your parents told you that one. Misery loves company. Be careful who you hang out with. You hang out with Colbert and Harris. That's a recipe for disaster. I don't know.
Yes.
From my perspective, what do I know?
Yeah, you know a lot, Tom. But I think that does it for us today on this busy Monday morning.
Yeah, that'll do it. See you bright and early tomorrow. The Chris Salcedo Show is next.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Santa Rosa and the wine country. Seen on KUKR 27 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Hey, good morning to you. Happy Monday. This is where it all happens right here. Don't turn the dial because you won't find out anything.
It's all here. Yes.
Anyway, good morning. Welcome to the Jerry Building Hour. I'm here. I'm the Ed McMahon of the Jerry Building Show.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's Jerry.
Yeah, you bet.
Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Monday. A lot going on in the news. I never know when there's not. Wait 10 minutes, it'll be something else.
Right.
Happy Monday. Boy, wasn't that nice, cool breeze last night?
Oh, my goodness.
And I think we lose one more degree today.
I think so.
And then it starts to work its way up.
Right, and we're actually quite seasonal right now. So all in all, looking pretty good.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Monday, and got a lot in the news. We'll get that to you. Anything special?
Well, first of all, we don't have much today, but first of all, it's big and it's very important. It's National Coast Guard Day.
Oh, good.
And it celebrates and honors the courageous work of the service members of the Coast Guard. We salute all Coast Guard members, active and inactive, for their service to our country, and we have a little bit more on this a little bit later. Also, one thing to eat, but it's good. It's National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
You got to be kidding.
No, gives us an opportunity to dunk America's #1 favorite cookie.
Chewy or crunchy?
Chewy.
Okay.
In a tall glass of ice cold milk, coffee or tea, whether yours are homemade or store-bought, enjoy. And I think that you can take two of them, put a big scoop of vanilla ice cream between them, and make an ice cream sandwich called a chocolate chip ice cream sandwich.
There you go.
Awesome. So that's it. Now we thank Ruth Graves Wakefield, who accidentally invented them in 1937.
Really?
It's never been the same since. And she was working at the Toll House Inn and named it
Toll
House Cookies. Hot dog.
Really?
All right, yes. All right, one little interesting fact. We had a president of the United States who had a dog in the White House. And there was a year that the dog made more money than the president.
Was that, let me guess now, was that under W?
It was W's dad.
Oh, that's right.
You know it. You're on the right track.
It was a Springer.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the name?
Millie.
Yes. Millie sold books.
Yeah, Millie, yes. Millie, the White House dog, earned more than 4 times that President Bush did in 1991. Once known as the most famous dog in the White House history, Millie was one of the Bush's family dogs, and one of her amazing feats, the $900,000 in royalties earned from Millie's book easily outsold the $2,291 earned in 91 by the president for his 1988 campaign autobiography titled Looking Forward. I didn't even realize he had a book called Looking Forward. He made $2,000 and Millie made $900,000.
There you go.
Oh, it's a nice dog.
Yeah, well, Springers are really special.
Yeah.
We've had Springers, and they're just, well, each dog has their own characteristics, but a Springer, if you do it right, they will talk to you.
No way.
Yeah, they'll talk.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes they'll howl,
All right.
But they're very friendly, they're lovable. And then remember, Millie had litters.
That's right.
And
yes.
a litter, and I forget those puppies sold for $1,000,000.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
And in her memory, Millie has a dog park named after her in Houston, Texas.
Oh, really? Well,
yes.
Well, that's pretty cool. Because now, W. Bush had this, the little thing with the big ears, the little black thing, and they put a camera on it.
Oh, that's right. I remember the little dog camera. They what
put
was that dog?
It's not a schnauzer.
Yeah.
It was something. But anyway, it's running around. And what was cute about it was it gave you a little bit of an insight from a dog's perspective.
Yeah,
dogs are always looking up.
It was a little terrier. Wasn't it a Scotch Terrier or something?
Scottish Terrier.
Yeah.
And they put a dog camera on it. Was running around.
The Bushes had a pretty good relationship with their pets, huh?
Yeah, they're cool.
Yes.
All right, good stuff all the way around. Well, here's a guy that has a chip on his shoulder.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. An onshore flow will help keep temperatures down, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds becoming mostly sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem, Albany, and Eugene, and near 79 in Corvallis, with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In central Oregon, becoming sunny with a high in the low 80s around Prineville, sunny in Bend and Sun River with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Over in Boise, Idaho, decreasing clouds becoming sunny in mid 80s. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny and near 70 in Coos Bay, sunny in upper 60s in Port Orford, mostly sunny in mid 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny in Crescent City, California, with a high near 62. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid 80s for Grants Pass and Medford, and low 80s in Ashland and Klamath Falls, and breezy this afternoon in the Klamath Basin. Into northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-80s for Wairika, sunny in Redding with a high near 93, through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the low 90s with a light southwest wind. Sunny and breezy today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid-80s for Santa Rosa and Napa, upper 60s in San Francisco with gusts up to 24 miles per hour, and today in San Jose, sunny and 78. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Hi, good morning to you. Happy Monday, and I want to say thank you, Grange Co-op. You know why? Well, not only do they sponsor our weather, they just opened up a new store in Redding.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a picture of our backyard this morning. The sun's not quite up yet because we don't have official sunrise for about another 3 minutes.
Okay.
So anyway, good stuff all the way around.
All right. Well, time for a little bit of encouragement as Franklin Graham points out exactly what Jesus wants from you.
Now, Peter follows at a distance up to Caiaphas' house, at a distance, to see what the outcome might be. A lot of Christians are willing to follow Jesus at a distance to see what the outcome might be. Well, if this group over here, if they say nice things about Jesus, I'll kind of let them know I'm one of them too. But if they start ridiculing Christians, I'm not going to let them know I'm one. They want to follow at a distance to see what the outcome might be. There's a cost. You see, if you follow Christ, people may turn their backs on you. There may be a group of people that won't welcome you to their group. Oh, you're one of those evangelical Christians. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we know who you are. Or they may spit on you, call you names. And Jesus warns that there's a cost. There's a cost to being his disciple. And he doesn't want any excuses. If he's calling you, no excuses. You see, what he's wanting is obedience.
Mm-hmm. And obedience is greater than sacrifice. Now, you have to kind of manage that through your own life.
Yeah.
You know. Now, I have a story come up that will emphasize what he just talked about, and that is the hatred towards people. Mm-hmm. And we got that as a story coming up a little bit later on. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories on this At It Monday morning. And a couple of things. Well, things got a little heated in the Senate over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to, the president was asking the Senate, held them over into their recess, to go through a bunch of nominees that he had on the table that got stalled.
Right.
They have to go through the confirmation hearing in the Senate. And Chuck Schumer decided to use this as an opportunity. Well, we'll get to your nominees if you give us, I think it was $1 billion in expenditures.
Oh,
in other words, it was a political extortion.
It's bribe, yeah.
It's extortion.
Right, yes.
And the president, can I say this on the air?
Yes, you can. Well, I'm not sure. Try it.
Well, President Trump told Chuck Schumer to go to some place that's really hot.
Right, with hockey sticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And so the president kind of blew up his own negotiation.
Right.
So he was negotiating to get his nominees through. Schumer's over there saying, no, we're not even going to consider it unless you give us $1 billion in expenditure, extra money to spend.
That is extortion.
And that's extortion.
Yeah.
And he basically said, go somewhere that's very hot. And so here's Schumer's take on what the president told him to do.
So let's be clear what happened. Donald Trump attempted to steamroll the Senate to put in place his historically unqualified nominees, but Senate Democrats wouldn't let him. In a fit of rage, Trump threw in the towel, sent Republicans home, and was unable to do the basic work of negotiating. Is this the art of the deal? Posture? Cajole? Stamp your feet and then give up? This says it all. Donald Trump tried to bully us, go around us, threaten us, call us names, but he got nothing. And he walked away with his tail between his legs. We should be working together on legislation to get things done for the American people. That's the way to go. Not changing the rules, because when they change the rules, they say only we're going to decide what's good for the American people. And every time they do that, the American people lose.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so look, before you get uptight about what he said, because this is typical, whatever the R's do, the D's going to complain. Whatever the D's do, the R's are going to complain. Okay. This is the battle that goes on in politics. Yeah. The problem is, does Chuck Schumer have the power and the credibility to get anything done?
Absolutely not.
See, he's fading fast, and I wouldn't be surprised that AOC runs against him.
Well, yeah.
Okay, but the end of the day is, yes, the president blew up his own deal because these guys were trying to, he didn't ever mention that he was trying to extort $1 billion out of the deal.
Of course not, yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of interesting over the weekend. Story number 2. Now this kind of rings home to Oregon. The Texas Democrats have decided to pick up and leave the state to stop reapportionment in their House bill. In other words, it's time for them to redistrict the state.
Right.
And, of course, the Republicans are in control, so the redistricting of the state would obviously benefit the R's.
Yeah.
Now, folks, we've lived through this. We've lived through this in Oregon.
Absolutely.
When the D's are in control, they redraw the maps, and so it always empowers the D's. Look what they did to Bend.
Of course. Part of Portland District?
This is absolutely ludicrous.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, So the D's decided to leave town. And I'm going, really? You know? Okay, so here's a couple of, this is Senate Representative Gene Wu. He's a Democrat from Texas and the House Majority Leader. And here's what he had to say about the D's picking up and leaving town so they don't have to vote on it.
We did not make the decision to come here today. We did not make that decision lightly. But we come here today with absolute moral clarity that this is absolutely the right thing to do to protect the people of the state of Texas. Their attempts to disenfranchise Texans is the tool they're using is a racist, gerrymandered map. A map that seeks to use racial lines to divide hard-working communities who have spent decades building up their power and strengthening their voices. And Governor Abbott is doing this in submission to Donald Trump.
Of course.
Okay, so they have to put Trump into everything that they don't like because that's the #1 target. Bottom line is this. There isn't a Democrat-led legislature in this country that it hasn't done or will do the same thing.
Exactly.
Now, the question I have is they are removing themselves. Now, remember when the Republicans did it here in the state of Oregon over a bill?
They left, yeah.
And they went beyond the point of unexcused absence.
Right.
And it caught them, and a lot of them couldn't run again.
Right, right.
I don't know if they have that same protocol in Texas.
I don't know either.
But how much power does the governor have?
That's the big question.
To force the vote anyway?
Because I heard on the way in that Governor Abbott has said he has the power to basically get rid of them.
Well, this is, folks, have you ever seen the Democrats whine ever? Okay, now they're whining because they're being treated the way they've treated others.
Oh, of course.
So this is just a big fat whine job.
Yeah.
And so we'll see where this plays out. I don't know if there is House rules, Senate rules, legislative rules, where they're going to be in an unexcused absence that doesn't have a consequence to it.
Yeah, you wonder if they have anything like what we have here in Oregon, and what cost a lot of people their jobs.
Yeah, they stayed out. I think it was the 11th day got them.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, now this next story is really quite encouraging.
Okay.
Pope Leo the 14th, he's quite a guy. He decides to have a little bit of a get-together for young people. Well, guess what? 1 million of them showed up.
Oh, my goodness, really?
1 million young people from around the world gathered with Pope Leo for a prayer vigil in Rome.
Wow.
This is really encouraging. This is terrific.
Wow.
Now, before you write me a hot letter, I always think a step towards God is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so this is wonderful. Now, Pope John Paul II was kind of he was the big grandfather, and the young people, a lot of young people were drawn to him.
Yeah.
Well, here comes Pope Leo. He's just like, hey, one of us.
Yeah.
He wears a White Sox hat.
Yeah, right. He's a fan.
And jersey.
Right.
Okay, here they come.
Yeah.
And it's often been said, even when I talk to George Barna, when young people get turned on, that is the generation changer. That changes the culture. And so this could be, look at these nuns dancing.
Yes.
Isn't this something?
Yes.
So this was in Rome over there. 1 million people showed up for this.
And he's truly got a heart for the lowly and the down at heart. Otherwise, how could he root for the White Sox? Sorry.
Bingo. No, that's all right. That's okay. So is this the Catholic Woodstock?
Oh, man, that's a great question.
Yeah, it's kind of being tagged as the Catholic Woodstock.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, if he does this, it's kind of like he's watched President Trump do rallies.
Yeah.
What if he starts doing Trump ralies around the world for young people?
Oh my gosh.
He's holding the Catholic Woodstocks all over the world.
Yes. He's a little bit different than the last pope in the sense that he seems pretty
engaged.
Vitality. He's kind of youthful,
Yeah, I listened to one of his homilies the other day in English.
Oh.
Because he's very fluent in Italian. But he does, I think he speaks he speaks Spanish, Italian, and English.
Yep.
And he's pretty fluent in all three of them.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm thinking about, it's very meaningful.
Really?
You know, so anyway,
All right.
The Catholic Woodstock. Okay, well, this next story I have to tell you is mind-boggling. And I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. I want to be very careful here, but there was some very raw footage coming out of Gaza and how some of the Israeli hostages are being treated, and they're down to basically skin and bones. And there was video of this, and they also showed a video of one of these very malnourished hostages that was in one of these tunnels and forced to dig his own grave.
Oh, I heard about that, yeah.
So if there's anything that could cause Israel to finish the job, this footage went viral all over the place. I saw it last night, and my stomach just turned.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said about it.
Dear citizens of Israel, like you, I was deeply shocked yesterday. I saw the horrifying videos of our dear sons, Ram and Evyatar. I called the families, embraced them on behalf of myself and my wife, and on your behalf too. You see them wasting away in a dungeon. But the Hamas monsters surrounding them have thick, fleshy arms. They have everything they need to eat. They are starving them the way the Nazis starved the Jews. And when I see this, I understand exactly what Hamas wants. It doesn't want a deal. It wants to break us through these horrifying videos, through the false propaganda it spreads around the world, but we will not break. I am filled with even stronger determination to free our kidnapped sons, to eliminate Hamas, and to ensure that Gaza will no longer pose a threat to the state of Israel.
I think this sealed the commitment to finish the job.
I think so too.
Now, you got to remember, they're not only malnourished, they haven't seen sunlight, and who knows? I mean, they're probably just on the verge of death.
Okay, and in our coverage of it here, do you think the New York Times will now respond with putting these pictures on the front page like they did so misleadingly last week when they put the picture of the mother holding the child with a medical condition, and they portrayed it as malnutrition?
Yeah.
This is just disgusting.
It is, and if there's anything that ought to be, I say it's not a game changer. It should solidify the commitment, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said. This solidifies the commitment that Hamas cannot exist. And now the question is, at what point do they cross the line that they have to sacrifice these hostages to finish the deal?
Oh gosh.
Okay, you're dealing with war fatigue too.
Right.
But when you saw these images, it enrages people to do something.
Yeah.
It's bad. Yeah. And the last story that we have today, Russia seems to be rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
They had a big earthquake, 8.7, then they had another one, and it caused a little bit of a boom. This volcano has not erupted. Can you pronounce that name?
Yep, I can't.
I didn't think you could either. It's a Russian name that has 42 letters in it. Anyway, it erupted, and this is the first time it's erupted in over 475 years.
Wow. All right.
I didn't know they had records that.
Yeah.
All right, so this thing blew its top, and so they've had these earthquakes go on over there.
Yeah. Oh, look
so things seem to be rocking and rolling in Russia. You kind of wonder what this is all about.
Well, it's interesting too because it's part of what we call the Ring of Fire that goes around the Pacific, and we're part of here.
Yeah.
So they seem to be a little bit seismically active right now.
Yeah, they are, and those seismic. That's what causes the volcano to erupt.
Yeah.
Now I remember E.V. Hill preaching a fire. He said, preaching a sermon. He said, "Don't ever wish somebody to go to hell."
Okay.
When you tell somebody to go, and the president said that over the weekend.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes,
he said, "Don't ever tell anybody to go to hell."
Okay.
He said, "You ever seen a volcano? Yeah. There's fire down there. Don't tell anybody to go down there." It's hot down there. He said, "You don't want to send anybody. You're sending somebody down. You're sending them to the bottom of that fire down there. You don't tell anybody."
That's a good illustration.
Yeah. So anyway,
I get it.
There you go. All right. Well, gosh, that's a mouthful. We'll be right back.
When the church does pray. Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
The most challenging things that happens when you're doing interviews is you interview somebody that their answer is yes, no, yes, no. Those are very, very difficult to do. And you hope it's over real soon. Then you have those that you ask a question to, and they just go on and on and on. I mean, you could literally leave the set, go out and have a hamburger, and come back, and they're still answering the question.
Focus Today, weekdays at 8 on the Dove Radio and TV.
When we first got to the hospital and to see Ben's head was bandaged, and there was blood seeping through it, and I could see this big contusions on it, so I just prayed quickly for him.
I'm looking at Jeff, and he's tearing up and crying a bit, and I'm thinking, Lord, what is going on? And what do you want me to do or us to do? And he said, pray with hope.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. 24 minutes past the hour. Just one story here in our own backyard I wanted to bring to light, and that is we had briefly the rise of anti-Semitism around the world, and it's not going away. In fact, if anything, if you are a Bible-believing Christian, you need to understand that the Bible's pretty clear about more and more people hating Israel. And as you look down through that, that means ultimately they hate the Jews.
Yeah, right.
And so anti-Semitism is growing like crazy, and it is popping up everywhere. And I find it very interesting when I talk to people, why is the Jewish people the exception to CRT, to anything that's racial, to anything that's a quota, anything that's hate? Somehow the Jewish people are the exception to all of those rules and regulations and things, that somehow it's okay to hate the Jews. It's okay to protest against the Jews. Well, the Oregon Jewish Museum was vandalized with paint and swastikas over the weekend. And I'm thinking, all right, this is a Portland's museum. This is a beautiful place. And here in our own beautiful state, the Jews and the Jewish Museum was vandalized.
Time out. Somebody painted swastikas on a Jewish museum. Do they not understand what that means?
Well, I think.
Well, are they implying that Jews are Nazis? Are you kidding me?
No, I think it's just Nazis killing Jews.
Well, yeah. So, So wait a minute. I can't even stomach that, because nobody would align themselves with Nazis. They're always calling everybody else Nazis.
Yeah.
So are they that stupid, or are they Nazis?
I don't know.
I think
I don't know who painted it, but the point being is that the Jewish Museum in Portland was vandalized, and you look at this and you go, okay, but I think we need to understand as believers. It's a rhetorical question. I'll ask it, and you can leave it out there. Are you for or against Israel? Are you for or against Jews? The reason I ask that, because there is a growing movement inside evangelicalism of this reconstruction, if I can use it, or there's another term for it. I'll think it up here in a minute.
Yeah.
Where they're against Jews.
Right.
And Jews killed Jesus.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah.
So what do you do with this?
Yeah.
But anyway, there is that growing sentiment even within evangelicalism. The point being is, I think the Christian church is being forced to make a position. And you know what? It's kind of like dealing with homosexuality. It's there, but you don't want to talk about it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But it's pretty clear in Scripture, I'll bless those who bless you and I'll curse those who curse you. And you have to make that decision in your own mind. Now, granted, they're still living somewhat in darkness, if I can use that term, as to who the Messiah is. But the scripture's pretty clear that the scales will drop from their eyes. And there's more and more Jews becoming Messianic Jews than ever before. There's a revival going on here that they do see Jesus as the Messiah. So, but here we are in our own backyard being vandalized. What are we going to do with this? I don't know. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on weather-wise out there. And we got systems to the north, a little bit to the south. Actually, a beautiful day. Have you noticed those thunderclouds building up in the afternoon?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Yeah, they're beautiful, but boy, they go way up there.
Yeah, we watched the other evening over the weekend a lightning show over some of those. And, luckily, obviously, I didn't hear of any new fires that were started.
No, so far we're okay. But boy, those were big ones. It started heating up towards the end of the week, so be prepared for that.
Okay, well, tariffs still in the news. And here we have Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, who talks with Fox Business' Larry Kudlow about the Democrats' response to President Trump's success in handling tariffs to reduce the U.S. debt.
The legacy media, Larry, and the Democrats are running for cover. The people manufacturing, people in Canada and Mexico are beating my door down here in Washington, D.C., wanting to move manufacturing to Alabama and to America. They don't know what to say, Larry. You know, the Democrats they're lost for words. This is their worst nightmare, President Trump. We all knew he'd be successful if you just let him loose, and they did, and he knows what he's doing. He's going to win. He's going to win a lot more. He's not finished yet, but I like what Howard Lutnick says. This will help pay our debt down. I've been saying that all along. This is the only way we can pay our debt down is through tariffs. Well, tell you, buddy, Jerome Powell. I mean, we've all told him up here. We talk to him quite often, and I don't know. He's just a political hack. I tell you, it just shows you he's a day late and a dollar short, Larry. He was late raising rates back in 2021, and now he's late lowering rates. But he lowered rates right before Kamala Harris' election, trying to get her elected. It's just a shame. That's the deep state up here. That's the whole city of Washington, D.C., and President Trump's given them a good lesson in economics.
Yeah, this is so interesting. Jerome Powell over the weekend. By the way, two of the people on the Feds voted against him, or keeping the rates the same. They wanted to lower. One now has resigned, and the president is going to appoint somebody to take that person's place. It's obvious now that Powell is a hack, and he's going to hold out as long as he can, and he might stay to the end of his term, which is till the end of the year. So this is sad, because who suffers from this? The American people do. Yeah. Okay. All right. 'Tis the truth. And chocolate chip cookies.
Absolutely.
You like them just out of the oven where they're a little warm and mushy, and the chocolate chip is just a little on the melty side?
Yes.
And then after they cool off, do you like them crunchy or mushy?
I still like them chewy.
Chewy.
Yeah, I like them chewy.
Mushy, chewy.
Right.
Do you like them big or small?
Yes.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Go where the wild runs deep. At Hellgate Jet Boat Excursions, you feel the power of the mighty Rogue River as you take in the sights and sounds of nature, journey through Hellgate Canyon, and adventure through the breathtaking wilderness. Enjoy brunch or dinner on the open-air deck of the exclusive Hellgate River Lodge, and end your adventure with our exciting jet boat spins. It's a memory in the making with family and friends. Book your adventure at Hellgate.com. Hellgate Jet Boat Excursions, where adventure runs wild.
Bulls, bears, and other market beasts. How can you be sure they won't eat your investments alive? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. As you navigate the stormy seas of investing, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope. offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today. 541-494-1034.
Perry Atkinson.
I learned this from the late Rush Limbaugh. I interviewed Rush Limbaugh a couple of weeks before we moved to Southern Oregon in 1983. And I asked Rush Limbaugh the question, I said, what is the key to your program? And he said two things. He said, one is be comfortable in making fun of yourself and having a good time. And the other one is, when you have a guest on, remember they're the star, you're not. It always stuck with me. Okay, good morning to you. 27 minutes before the hour on this beautiful Monday morning. A little on the cooler side, you know, very pleasant.
Yeah.
And we don't see things changing until a little bit tomorrow. And then by the time we get to the weekend, we could be back into the very warm category. But right now, enjoy it. All right, let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up on what's going on in the Middle East.
This is CBN Newswatch.
In 2018, the United States broke precedent by moving its embassy to Jerusalem and recognizing the ancient city as the capital of Israel. Since then, a number of other nations have followed suit, and more are being encouraged to do the same. Chris Mitchell brings us that story now from Jerusalem.
Jerusalem is the undisputed, it is the undivided capital of the Jewish state of Israel.
U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee spoke at a recent ceremony recognizing nations relocating their embassies to Jerusalem. Since the U.S. paved the way 7 years ago, Guatemala, Honduras, Kosovo, Papua New Guinea, and Paraguay moved their embassies. Others are said to be in the planning stage.
Argentina, Czechia, Fiji, and other countries too. And we're working very hard together with the government as an NGO to persuade them and to encourage them. And I think the more embassies that move to Jerusalem, the better it is for Israel, the better it is for the West.
Chaim Silberstein, chairman of the Jerusalem Center for Applied Policy, started the group to identify challenges and seek opportunities for the capital city. He takes global policymakers through the city, explaining why Jerusalem matters.
The best way to understand the situation is to visualize it, to see it, to feel it. God has given us Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is always will be and always has been the capital of Israel. But the fact that countries come and recognize it as part of the real politics of the world is so important for us. And we need to strengthen that because we know that Israel and the Jewish people have many enemies around the world.
Silberstein says building and maintaining support has become more urgent since October 7th and the ongoing war.
The State of Israel has worked and is working very hard to harness all those countries that support Israel, because unfortunately there are many that have fallen to the fake news and the false propaganda of what's going on in the war.
Former Deputy Mayor Flor Hassan Nahum points to the city's iconic history.
Jerusalem is the city which is not just the capital of the State of Israel. It's not just the capital of the Jewish nation, but it is the city that made us a nation. 3,000 years ago, King David decided that he needed one united capital to unite the tribes of Israel. So Jerusalem is the place we became the indigenous people of this land. And so your recognition is not just historic, it is practical, and it is the reality that we have today.
In 1967, when Israel reclaimed the city after more than 2,000 years, it marked a profound, and many believe, prophetic turning point.
Back then, soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces fought their way through these ancient streets with trembling voices and tear-filled eyes. They declared, Har Habayit Be'adeinu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Since that miraculous moment, Jerusalem has been rebuilt, renewed, and reopened to peoples of all faiths. Yet, though the armed struggle for Jerusalem was won 58 years ago, the diplomatic struggle still endures. Far too many nations still refuse to recognize this self-evident and fundamental fact that Jerusalem has always been and will forever remain the capital of the people of Israel.
Ambassador Huckabee recounted a sobering conversation he overheard during the ceremony for the U.S. Embassy relocation to Jerusalem.
The young American said, "I've been so excited about this, moving our embassy to Jerusalem. I haven't slept in 2 nights." The elderly Jewish gentleman just looked at him and said, "The Jews haven't slept in 2,000 years. And now they can sleep knowing that when we pray for the peace of Jerusalem, we are praying for the peace of the capital of the Jewish state, the undivided capital of the Jewish state."
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Mike Huckabee, you talk about the right guy at the right place at the right time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
Yes.
All right. Well, here's a guy at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. At least that's what we pay him to do.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. An onshore flow will help keep temperatures down, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds becoming mostly sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem, Albany, and Eugene, and near 79 in Corvallis, with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In central Oregon, becoming sunny with a high in the low 80s around Prineville. Sunny in Bend and Sun River with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Over in Boise, Idaho, decreasing clouds becoming sunny in mid 80s. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny and near 70 in Coos Bay. Sunny in upper 60s in Port Orford. Mostly sunny in mid 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny in Crescent City, California, with a high near 62. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass and Medford, and low 80s in Ashland and Klamath Falls, and breezy this afternoon in the Klamath Basin. Into northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-80s for Wairika, sunny in Redding with a high near 93, through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the low 90s with a light southwest wind. Sunny and breezy today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid 80s for Santa Rosa and Napa, upper 60s in San Francisco with gusts up to 24 miles per hour, and today in San Jose, sunny and 78. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, a beautiful shot from the east side of the valley. There at Roxanne, you see some little FM antennas there in the forefront. A little bit of a shadow, okay, and you can see a little bit of marine air way off to the west side. And that's actually looking north. So I'm going to say that's 285.
You know, I think you're right on the money. I look for the readout. I have no clue.
I think that's about there. Now, what I'm referring to here is that 285 degrees,
okay,
which would be west-northwest.
This goes back to a conversation we had last week about the fact that runways are actually numbered for a reason.
I mean, that was a dumb moment for me. I thought, you didn't know that?
Like I told Pam, I said, Perry's been holding out on us. We didn't know that stuff.
I'm just glad you're not flying.
Me too. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we mentioned it earlier, and today is a celebration of a birthday of a branch of the U.S. Armed Services with a rich and proud history. Today, we mark the anniversary of the United States Coast Guard, a branch of the military with a unique mission that blends service, safety, and sacrifice. It all began in 1790 when Alexander Hamilton created the Revenue Cutter Service to enforce customs laws and prevent smuggling. It served as the nation's only armed force afloat from 1790 until the Navy was officially formed in 1798. That small fleet became the modern Coast Guard in 1915, merging with the U.S. Life-Saving Service. Today, the Coast Guard protects more than 100,000 miles of U.S. coastline. From search and rescue to drug interdiction, from environmental protection to homeland security, their work spans oceans, rivers, and skies. They operate under both the Department of Homeland Security and, in times of war, the Navy. The Coast Guard unofficial motto is, "You have to go out, you don't have to come back." On this day, we salute the men and women of the Coast Guard, always ready, always there, for 235 years and counting.
It's a branch that doesn't get a lot of attention.
No, it really doesn't. And
I have to tell you, it is dangerous work.
You talk about a history. I mean, they had ships out on the sea before there was a Navy, and they were patrolling. But our hats off to all who have served and are serving, and including this guy. A special shout out. That is a buddy of mine. His name is Al Logan. He served the Coast Guard. He served in Vietnam. He served up and down the coast. And that's what you want a coastie to look like, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Check it out.
But I have the greatest admiration for the Coast Guard pilots.
Oh, yeah.
They never fly in good weather.
No, I know they don't. I watch those guys. There's some good
the helicopter pilots in the planes?
Absolutely. And then the swimmers that jump out of those helicopters into rough seas to save people.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Al Logan, for your service.
Okay, you and all the, what do they call them? Did they have a nickname for them?
Coasties.
Coasties.
Yeah.
Okay, for all you coasties. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's from the Hayden, Alabama podcast. Now, as you can imagine, from Alabama, it has to deal with a preacher that gets a little on the testy side.
Okay.
Here you go.
There was a preacher that went to eat dinner with a family. The preacher had been preaching on reading the Bible. And the dad was, of course, preacher, we read our Bible. We read our Bible. Don't you worry about that. And they invited him over 2 or 3 times. And every time the preacher would leave, they'd have a butter knife missing. He got upset. Why in the world is he stealing our butter knives? And the wife said, well, I don't know that he's stealing. He said, I'm telling you, that he's taking the butter knives with him. Watch it tonight. He said, I'm going to mark the one that he uses, and you'll find it'll be gone when he leaves here. Preacher comes over, he eats his dinner, and lo and behold, butter knife is gone. He said, that's it. That is the last straw. I'm going to call him and meet him in the morning. Met him, and preacher sat down, and he said, you wanted to meet with me? And the man said, yeah. He said, preacher, I've had you over 4 or 5 times, and you took a butter knife every single time. Preacher said, I guess you've caught me. He said, I know I caught you. I marked that one last night you used, and it's gone. And he said, well, partner, if you would look in your Bible that you got sitting on the table there that you said that you've been reading, every one of them's in that Bible.
Oh, that's good.
How about that?
Yeah, that's excellent.
God, gotcha. Man, that's the ultimate gotcha.
You said you've been reading. That's good. All right.
Okay, well, I know. Let's, we'll go take a chocolate chip break. We'll be right back.
Till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com. Chris Silva understands your home and your commercial buildings are 2 of the largest investments most people make in a lifetime. One is for your family, the other is to support your family financially. That is why Chris Silva Painting goes the extra mile to protect both homes and commercial buildings with proper painting preparation and high-quality primers and paints. Serving Southern Oregon since 2006, this family-owned and operated business has painted over 1,000 homes. Chris Silva Painting offers an industry-leading 5-year warranty that covers materials and labor on all painting projects work for both residential and commercial buildings, both interior and exterior painting. Chris and his crew are courteous, they are efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Interviewing newsmakers, experts, and a who's who of ministry leaders over 21,000 times, over 40 years. The Dove's Perry Atkinson. Tap into his experience and knowledge right here on the Dove TV.
Hey, how y'all doing? Well, last week was one of those moments on Focus Today where everything went in a direction that we weren't planning.
Okay.
I woke up with this question in my mind that day, and I knew I was going to have Pastor Mark Little on, and I always get these list of things to talk about before a guest comes on.
Yeah.
And I looked at this list, and I had this question in my mind. And I was like, well, what do I do with this? And I have seconds to make these decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody goes, how much do you read before you go on there? You'd be surprised what I don't read. And so anyway, it came on, and I said, Pastor Mark, before we get too deep into anything, you're a seasoned believer. You've been to seminary. You're a lawyer. And I said, do you struggle with your position? Do you ever get a dry spell? Do you ever hit the wall? Does God ever go quiet on you? Do you ever struggle with your identity? You know? And I think anybody worth their salt as a believer, you go through a season where God's really quiet. Nothing is happening.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scripture to support what you should be doing during all that.
Okay.
So I said, what do you think God is trying to tell us seasoned believers when things are kind of going quiet? What is God trying to communicate to us, especially in these days in which we live, in times? And here's what Pastor Mark had to say.
What's beautiful about what you said is I have a answer, maybe not the only answer, but because I'm walking through it and because I'm writing about it, it's on the tip of my tongue. And I would say to you, and I would say to others who are feeling the way I am and feeling the way you are, because we're seasoned and because we know God and because we've seen the hand of God, that's what we first rely on. So inherently, we don't ask the question, where are you? Because we know he's there. But I want to just redirect us because the question is what is the shift? Israel wandered for a whole generation because there were lessons to be learned. Because that generation couldn't go into the promised land. They had to learn some lessons. And so I'm asking the Lord, don't let me miss it. I know I'm in a shift. I know you have me in a holding pattern. I know your sovereignty. You're lining up dominoes in your sovereignty. I know what you're doing, Lord. But just give me some encouragement while I'm in the wait. Because the word says, they that wait upon the Lord. What does that mean? That means we're going to have to wait sometime. So they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. So there's a season where he's having us wait. Guess what? So we can renew our strength for the next season. We're going to another season where he's going to use our gifts. He's going to use what he taught us in this waiting season. We just have to be courageous enough and patient enough to know that he is who he said he is and that he's going to get out of us what he said he's going to get out of us. So we have to keep waiting until he says, now go. Okay. I'm waiting.
Okay, so there's a little bit. Little did I realize, really, that show was so unscripted. That interview with him. Okay. We had him on for 2 segments. You may want to go to theDove.us and watch the whole interview. It was so unscripted, so transparent from his perspective. Excuse me, even a little bit of myself. But I think what I'm catching from this, in your quiet time, can you really concentrate on God?
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you can't.
Yeah, it's hard. It is. Yeah.
Our brains are so crowded.
Yeah.
And there's so many things yelling inside that if you took a walk all by yourself and turned everything off, I'll guarantee you couldn't take 5 steps and still be concentrated on God. That's how loud and cluttered our brains have become.
Yeah.
So when God goes quiet, it's the only way he can get your brain cleared.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we, on top of that, he was talking about this conundrum, and that is waiting on the Lord.
Wait.
We hate to wait. That's one of the reasons we have the 28-foot miracle.
Yeah. You order, you drive 28 feet, you pick it up.
Right.
You know.
So, but that's not, it's hard for us in that waiting. And while we are waiting, it's like you said, how long is your attention span? How long can you focus on the Lord?
I really think what God is calling the church, individuals, let me say individuals, God, I don't want to say this is universal and you pastors need to change your message. That's not it at all. This is a one-on-one thing. When's the last time you were able to clear your head and sit in solitude before the Lord with a clear mind? And I guarantee you, it's almost impossible these days.
Even in church.
Yes.
For crying out loud.
And your mind's going to go this way, and it's going to distract and all this and that. Okay, well, waiting separates the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Waiting separates the sheep from the goats. And so you may want to go to this interview. He and I have been talking ever since the interview, and I said, Mark, I think we touched something here. We may have to stay with this for a little bit, because I think what God is trying to help us all to do is clear our heads.
Yeah.
Clear our heads. When's the last time you heard from the Lord clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, that's rhetorical. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, and I'm going to let it sit there and hang. Well, on a much lighter note.
Yeah, please.
On a much lighter note.
Chocolate chips?
We've seen some crazy things online. And just when you thought the internet had run out of surprises, well, guess what? We got another for you. A creative soul on Etsy recently stunned and amused the world by selling beetles dressed up as characters from Jurassic Park. Yeah, actual beetles dressed up, and people bought them. The artist behind it all explained this wasn't her usual gig. She doesn't regularly outfit insects in miniature movie costumes. It was a one-up art project for a show, and after the event wrapped, she put the beetles up for sale online. Naturally, the internet reacted exactly as you'd expect, with hilarious disbelief. One commenter wrote, "Knowing that such an individual exists and is roaming this very world makes life a little brighter." Another added, "I'm not sure if I should be laughing or being scared," and a third chimed in perfectly, "You should be both." One thing is for sure, this Jurassic bug exhibit gave the world a little unexpected joy and probably a few confused chuckles as well.
You gotta be kidding.
You know, the effort that people put into some of the most unusual things, and there is a classic example of I can't get over that.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, and people bought them. Of course,
well,
they bought them. Yeah, they're dead. Is there any kind of trade restrictions on selling dead beetles on the internet?
I don't know. How do you get them from not decaying? Do they stink when you get them?
Because some of those do.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, golly. All right.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I've always said, you heard me give the term, let's see, talkers are takers, doers are givers.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, think about that. Talkers are takers, doers are givers. James 1:22. Be doers of the word, not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. When are you going to do what you believe? When are you going to practice what you believe? And can you defend what you believe? Okay. So we're going to do the chocolate chip cookie somewhere.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
All right.
My hope is you alone. I know the sorrow and I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't.
Welcome home to the Dove, a trusted friend enriching your faith with inspiring content that will change your life forever.
Welcome home to the Dove TV, radio, and the Dove.us.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
Unchanging truth in an ever-changing world. Turning Point with Dr. David Jeremiah. Weekends on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove on a Monday morning. And here we are, back at it. This is the place to be because Jerry is here.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
And I am the Ed McMahon of the Jerry Building Hour.
Yeah, right.
Here's Jerry.
No.
Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. And the weather, actually, it's been beautiful the last couple of days. A tad cooler yesterday. Mm-hmm. And nice today. Actually, I think 1 or 2 degrees cooler today. Yeah. And then it slowly works its way up towards the weekend. We'll talk about that.
I couldn't get more comfortable sleeping weather than we got right now.
I just love it when you can have the cool breeze.
Oh,
there, and,
wonderful.
And I'm snoozing away. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm really snoozing away.
The days are getting shorter.
Oh, boy, are they ever. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I embrace that with mixed reviews.
I know.
My favorite season's coming.
It is?
Fall. I love fall. Yeah. I guess that's the farm boy in me.
Yeah.
Because that's harvest time.
Right. I was going to say, fall is a really busy time, though, for farmers.
It's the harvest time. Now, hay farmers they're like on cut number 3 right now.
Yes, they are.
And so they're doing good. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to see a lot of the hemp and marijuana places have diminished. There's some remaining, but not like we were 2 years ago, where they're on every corner.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't even drive around this town without smelling it.
I know. It's true.
So fortunately, a lot of that's gone away.
Yeah, it is.
But corn, I have never seen so many sweet corn patches all over the place.
Nice, healthy corn, too.
So there's a patch up on the corner here where we live.
Yeah.
And I know the guy. I thought I would hop the fence and steal a couple of ears and then send him a note and tell him thanks.
Do that.
Nice and, like that, Tom. If you're listening, Tom, I know where you're. Shame on you for growing it right next to the fence. I could literally reach over and grab
get it. Yeah. How far over the fence is it? Is it your property?
No. He's down the road a little
Oh,
bit.
he's down the road. I was going to say,
no,
okay.
I mean, I'd actually have to be. I could get caught with cops and everything doing this thing, but it's worth the try. Just
yes.
kidding. Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
Oh, good.
What's going on?
Well, good morning. It is National Coast Guard Day. It honors and celebrates the courageous work of the service members of the Coast Guard do every day and through history. And today we salute all Coast Guard members, active and inactive, for their service to our country. And we have a little bit more on this a little bit later.
Right.
Also, only one thing to eat today, but it's worth it. It's National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, giving us an opportunity to dunk America's #1 favorite cookie into a tall glass of ice cold milk, coffee, or tea. And whether yours are homemade or store-bought, the only way to celebrate is to indulge in chocolate chip cookies. And thanks to Ruth Graves Wakefield, who accidentally invented them in 1937. And what could be better than hot chocolate chip cookies, glass of milk, or maybe just take 2 of them and a big scoop of vanilla ice cream and smash them together and make a chocolate chip ice cream sandwich. Yeah. I can do that. All right, enjoy that. Okay. Did you know that we had a president who had a first dog in the White House, and there was a year that dog not only out-earned the president of the United States, but by a long shot made more money than the president.
It was a Springer.
It was a Springer, and of course it was George H.W. Bush's dog, Millie, once known as the most famous dog in White House history. Millie was one of the Bush's family dogs, and one of her amazing feats was the $900,000 in royalties that she earned from her book, which easily outsold the $2,200 earned in 1991 by the president for his 1988 campaign autobiography, Looking Forward. So we're seeing pictures of Millie. I remember Millie very well. She was very popular. She she had a picture book, and we're seeing, this is from her book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and $900,000 in royalties for Millie. And
Springers are special dogs.
That's a good
We've had
dog.
them in the past, and they're one of the few dogs that will literally talk to you.
All right. Yes.
And remember when she had the litter?
Yes.
And man, it was front page news for a while.
Yep.
And then George W. Bush came along, and they had this terrier.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that was like a Scotty Terrier.
Scotty Terrier.
Yeah, yes.
And it was a little black thing with pointed ears, and they put a camera on it.
Yeah, a little doggy cam.
Terrier
doggy
cam.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it gave you a view of life from the dog's perspective. Everything's looking up.
It's a dog's life, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff all the way around. All right, good morning to you. 5 minutes past the hour. Well, it's time for the weather, and I just want to take a few moments here and say this. I want to say thank you to the Grange Co-op. They're sponsoring the weather here, and the reason I want to bring this up is because a great company doing a great job. You go in there?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you got the big one out there by you.
The new one, yes.
You got the new one.
Right.
You can go in there and spend a week.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, you ever take your dog into Grange Co-op?
Never.
Let me try it.
Okay.
So I took Piper in there one time. Of course, everybody wants to pet the dogs, right?
Yeah.
So I made the sad mistake of taking Piper down the aisle that has all the bones.
Oh.
And the boxes of cookies.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to get that dog out of there. But they do allow the dogs in the store.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So anyway, and I also want to say congratulations. This company-owned store just does a great job. And somewhat of an announcement, because we have radio and TV in Reading. They are opening a brand new superstore like you got where you live.
On 62?
Yeah. In Reading. And it's due to open up on the 15th of this coming month, and which ought to be pretty cool because that store is really good. Do you buy clothes in there?
I have.
Do you buy the boots in there?
I have.
Do you buy fertilizer in there?
I don't know if I bought fertilizer in there or not. I got to think about that one.
Okay. And there's something else you can buy on there on your way out.
What?
An ice cream bar. You can get a Dove.
Okay.
You can get a Dove ice cream bar in one of those little boxes on your way out.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's Jerry with the weather.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. An onshore flow will help keep temperatures down, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds, becoming mostly sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem, Albany, and Eugene, and near 79 in Corvallis, with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In Central Oregon, becoming sunny with a high in the low 80s around Prineville. Sunny in Bend and Sun River with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Over in Boise, Idaho, decreasing clouds, becoming sunny in mid 80s. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny and near 70 in Coos Bay. Sunny in upper 60s in Port Orford. Mostly sunny in mid 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny in Crescent City, California, with a high near 62. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass and Medford, and low 80s in Ashland and Klamath Falls, and breezy this afternoon in the Klamath Basin. Into northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-80s for Wairika. Sunny in Redding with a high near 93 through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the low 90s with a light southwest wind. Sunny and breezy today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid 80s for Santa Rosa and Napa, upper 60s in San Francisco with gusts up to 24 miles per hour, and today in San Jose, sunny and 78. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
There you go. Beautiful shot right off the top of Roxanne looking westward. That's almost 270. So I don't know. We'll see how that looks. In the meantime, a little bit of clouds over the eastern or over the western part of the hills there.
Well, it is Monday morning, the start for many of what could be a busy work week. But before we get going on that, let's pause, take a deep breath, and get some encouragement from Franklin Graham.
Here's something that they did. They pull those boats up, right? They've never had to catch a fish probably like this in their life. Now, in their mind, I don't know what a boatload of fish, okay? But if you watch The Deadliest Catch on TV, those are boats in Alaska full of fish. At that time, they're worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So I don't know what these fish are worth and the money at that time. But there's 2 boatloads of fish. It would have been very easy for them to say, oh, listen, Lord, let us stop for just a few minutes and we can clean these fish and we can take them to the market and just think how much money we can put in the treasury and how much money God would have to use for. Remember, those were the Lord's fish, right? He's got lots of fish. He didn't care about those fish. He wanted Peter. He wants you. He wants you. But Peter had to make a choice. Fish or follow in obedience. Jesus said, follow me. I'll make you fishers of men. He had to make a choice. We all have to make choices in life. But remember, there's a cost. And Jesus warns us to stop. Count the cost. Because if you can't do this, it's better not to get started. Because you can't put your hand to the plow and look back. You can't do that. There's a cost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why does it say when you put your hand to the plow not to look back? You know why?
No.
If you're a farmer, you never look back because your eye's off the straight line. If you look back, your line starts to do this.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. I grew up the son of a farmer, potato farmer, and I remember going on vacation because all the crops are planted, they're growing, they're doing the thing, so you got a few weeks off, so we would go. And I remember driving to the lake or whatever, and on the way, Dad would be looking and say, oh, this guy's rows are all straight. Oh, this guy's a good farmer here. Oh, this guy was distracted. Look at those crooked rows. Look at it. It's interesting that you bring up, you don't look back because you got to keep
a good
going
farmer
straight.
is like a pilot. A good farmer is in his tractor and he's looking at the horizon. And as soon as he starts that row, he fixes his eyes at the end. And he drives towards that. If you look back, you'll have one of those. You'll have a wiggle in it.
Taking me back.
Okay, there you go. So much for that. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories. Things got a little heated over the weekend. Apparently, the Senate Republicans and Democrats couldn't get along. And the president was asking for, before you leave for the August recess, would you go through about 60 nominees and various positions that he was asking for. And Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said, well, you give us $1 billion, we'll consider it.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, he wanted an extra $1 billion in the budget for whatever, pork. And so the president told him to go to a place that's really hot.
With double hockey sticks.
At the end of it,
okay,
yeah.
all right, yeah.
And so this is so typical. Whatever the D's do, the R's don't like. Whatever the R's do, the D's don't like. But here is Chuck Schumer's response to the president. By the way, the president, now, art of the deal, he shut his own deal down. He said, basically, go over there, and we're into the deal. Go home and campaign on the fact that you tried to extort $1 billion from the Senate. Well, here's Chuck Schumer's response to that.
So let's be clear what happened. Donald Trump attempted to steamroll the Senate to put in place his historically unqualified nominees, but Senate Democrats wouldn't let him. In a fit of rage, Trump threw in the towel, sent Republicans home, and was unable to do the basic work of negotiating. Is this the art of the deal? Posture? Cajole? Stamp your feet and then give up? This says it all. Donald Trump tried to bully us, go around us, threaten us, call us names, but he got nothing. And he walked away with his tail between his legs. We should be working together on legislation to get things done for the American people. That's the way to go. Not changing the rules, because when they change the rules, they say only we're going to decide what's good for the American people. And every time they do that, the American people lose.
Well, okay, so that's a typical D response to an R move.
Right.
And it's tit for tat, that's the way it is. And it's kind of like old politics, old rhetoric. And I guess you wouldn't expect anything else from the opposing party.
Right.
But the bottom line is the president did. The deal was he ended it because the deal was going in the wrong direction. And he told Chuck Schumer to go to some place that's pretty hot. So that kind of got a little testy there. I will say, he said that on Truth Social. And kind of go, okay, all right, okay. In the meantime, it's kind of the same play over in Texas. The Texas Democrats are leaving the state to stop a vote on reapportionment, the redistricting of their state, which obviously would favor Republicans because the Republicans are the majority. Now, we've seen this in the state of Oregon, where when the Democrats are in control, they redistrict this state. I mean, they've literally draw lines around legislators' houses.
Literally.
And how in the world can you get Ben to be part of Portland? You're talking about a stretch.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, the shoe's on the other foot in Texas, and the Republicans are going to draw the lines. And, of course, the minority leader in the Senate, in the House, I get all these people straight, Gene Wu, he's the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus. He got up and said, and here's what he had to say about leaving the state.
We did not make the decision to come here today. We did not make that decision lightly. But we come here today with absolute moral clarity that this is absolutely the right thing to do to protect the people of the state of Texas. Their attempts to disenfranchise Texans the tool they're using is a racist, gerrymandered map. A map that seeks to use racial lines to divide hard-working communities who have spent decades building up their power and strengthening their voices. And Governor Abbott is doing this in submission to Donald Trump.
Of course.
Well, okay, so Trump is the villain.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so in the meantime, I don't know the protocols in Texas like we have here in Oregon. When the Republicans walked out on the bill, they went one day past the unexcused absence, and they were now not allowed to run for re-election.
And that was enforced.
That was enforced.
Yes.
And the only thing I can say is, I have to say to the Republicans that did that, I think you guys made a huge mistake. That's my opinion.
Yes.
But
so are the Democrats making the same mistake?
It looks like they could.
Okay.
Because apparently one of the headlines as we speak is that the Texas Governor Abbott, vows to remove Democrats from office after they flee the state to avoid the vote.
Right.
Apparently, the governor has that power.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that one?
Did they not think this through? Like the Republicans from Oregon obviously didn't in their situation.
Well, yes. Again, whatever the state laws are, you're going to have to abide by them. But I don't know. That's just childish stuff. You know, when you don't have the votes.
Right.
I mean, if you don't have enough smarts to figure out that no matter what, you're going to lose this.
Right.
You got to figure out another way to deal with this, other than just being, spoiled little brats and go home.
Yeah. And speaking of which, it was indicated that these Democrats have fled to Illinois, to Chicago. Why Illinois? Why is that? Is it sanctuary city for fleeing Democrats? What's the deal?
This story is brewing. It could be really something before the end of the day.
I think so.
I mean, this could be historic.
Wow. And of course, if they get fired by Greg Abbott, it's going to be like Donald Trump fired him.
Oh, yeah.
In the news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one other quick story. Did you see where Judge Jeannie Pirro?
Yeah.
She was appointed temporary Attorney General of D.C.
Yes.
And now she is permanently the Attorney General in D.C.
We were wondering if this would be the next step.
You talk about a new sheriff in town. Ooh. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of other stories. This is really fascinating to me. Over the weekend, Pope Leo decided to have a prayer vigil in Rome for young people. 1 million showed up.
Wow.
1 million young people showed up.
Wow.
And they came from all over the world. Now, I have to say, somebody is calling this a Catholic Woodstock. It's a little bit of a stretch. But, look at that.
That's huge.
Isn't that something?
Oh, my goodness.
The other thing that's being said is maybe the Pope here, Pope Leo, has discovered something.
What?
If Trump can hold rallies all over the country, maybe he can get in Pope Flight 1 and start holding youth rallies all over the world.
Wow.
This is a big deal.
It is.
And look, we all have our ups and downs with various denominations.
Sure.
The bottom line to this is, to me, a step towards God is a step in the right direction. And look at these nuns are dancing.
Nuns are dancing, yes.
I mean, that's a new day.
That's wonderful.
So Pope Leo, obviously being one of the youngest popes ever, okay, and he wears a White Sox hat and jersey once in a while. He can speak English, Spanish, and Italian fluently. So I just want to say, I think that's a good deal. When I have George Barna on, he thinks that young people, even though they're the hardest bunch to reach, but when converted, you can't put out the fire.
And as I have mentioned, he's got a heart for the down and out. Otherwise, how else would he be a White Sox fan?
There you go. Oh, Jerry.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Like I said, it's the Jerry golden hour.
I got to mention, it's not going so well for us Yankees either.
Okay. Good stuff.
All right.
This next story is very shocking and sad, but apparently, as you know, Israel and Hamas in not getting along, obviously. And Hamas still has a bunch of the Jewish Israeli hostages, and some videos came out over the weekend that showed some of the hostages basically starved to death. And what Hamas is trying to say, we're going to do to your hostages what you're doing to the Gazans. Well, they're stealing the stuff from the Gazans. We know the story here.
Yes.
But there was a video coming out where it showed these malnourished hostages, and one of them was filmed inside one of the tunnels, forced to dig his own grave.
Right.
And this is stunning, and I think it has enraged the leadership there in Israel. And here's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Dear citizens of Israel, like you, I was deeply shocked yesterday. I saw the horrifying videos of our dear sons, Ram and Evyatar. I called the families, embraced them on behalf of myself and my wife, and on your behalf too. You see them wasting away in a dungeon. But the Hamas monsters surrounding them have thick, fleshy arms. They have everything they need to eat. They are starving them the way the Nazis starved the Jews. And when I see this, I understand exactly what Hamas wants. It doesn't want a deal. It wants to break us through these horrifying videos, Through the false propaganda, it spreads around the world, but we will not break. I am filled with even stronger determination to free our kidnapped sons, to eliminate Hamas, and to ensure that Gaza will no longer pose a threat to the state of Israel.
Okay, there you go. So this has enraged him at a new level. I don't know what's going to go here, but boy, you talk about propaganda. And how in the world can the world support these people?
Right.
And yet, so the anti-Semitism continues to rage, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. In the meantime, one other quick story. As you know, on the east side of Russia, there was quite the earthquake. It came in at 8.7. Apparently, there's some after effects, and one of them is the eruption of a volcano that hasn't erupted in 475 years, and it's on the east side of the peninsula of Russia, out where the earthquake was. So obviously things are happening down below, and the thing erupted. Look at that.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It's part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. There seems to be some seismic activity on that side of the ring.
Yeah, well, we're at the bottom part of that ring.
Yeah, well, we're part of it, yes.
So the other thing is that 475 years, do they have video of 475 years ago?
Oh, that's funny.
But anyway, quite the eruption.
Yeah.
And there it is. So,
wow.
Okay. All right, those are some of the top stories on this Monday morning as we take a quick break and look for the big chip.
Where big ideas grow.
Put your gold in an envelope, mail it. Hopefully you get a check. Nah. Father and son jewelry, bring your gold in, we weigh it, we check it, we make you the offer.
Or turn your something old into something new. Whether it's an idea, a picture, or a piece you want to duplicate, we can melt it down and make it for you.
If you find your perfect piece in store, trade your something old for something new, and you always get a little extra.
Visit Father and Son Jewelry, 5 generations of family in Medford.
Black Flag Armory offers top brand affordable rifles, shotguns, handguns, and gear. We also offer an array of classes emphasizing safety, self-defense, and accuracy. We strive to provide the absolute best possible experience when buying a firearm. Family friendly for every skill level. Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Online at blackflagarms.com or 541-499-0779. 541-499-0779.
Perry Atkinson.
I learned this from the late Rush Limbaugh. I interviewed Rush Limbaugh a couple of weeks before we moved to Southern Oregon in 1983. And I asked Rush Limbaugh the question, I said, what is the key to your program? And he said 2 things. He said, one is be comfortable in making fun of yourself and having a good time. And the other one is, when you have a guest on, remember they're the star, you're not. It always stuck with me. Okay, welcome back. 25 minutes past the hour. Just a little bit of a story update of what's happening in our own backyard, particularly up in Portland. And that is the Oregon Jewish Museum was vandalized over the weekend with painted swastikas and other things all over the building. And I thought, okay, when is anti-Semitism going to reach its peak? Well, the answer to that is not until Jesus comes. If all the world turns against Israel, that means all the world's turned against Jews.
Yeah.
And here it is in our own backyard. This is really, really sad. And I don't know what you do with this and how you confront this. But a Jewish museum in beautiful downtown Portland got vandalized with this kind of stuff. I do know that in some of the synagogues around the country, they cannot have worship without armed guards at the front door.
Oh, wow.
And I have to tell folks that if you're a believing Christian, a Bible-believing Christian, you need to take a long look at this, because Are we going to be with them, or are we going to be against them? And you cannot be silent on this issue.
Good point.
You cannot be silent on this issue as anti-Semitism continues to rise all over the country. So it's pretty disheartening, to say the least. So one other little quick note, just rewinding my notes here.
Yeah.
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting will shut down in January.
I saw something.
That's because of the federal dollars not going there. Now, why is this so interesting? I think that Senator Kennedy said it the best when he got up and said, do you want your public dollars supporting CBS?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Do you want your public dollars supporting NBC?
Right.
Or ABC?
Right.
Yeah,
no, we don't.
Or CNN?
Right, we
or
don't.
MSNBC?
Nope.
Okay, so why does our public dollars have to go to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, whose only sole purpose is to do editorials against the government?
Well put, yep.
So anyway, their funding's been pulled, and that could be the end of them, which means all of these PBS stations, I think, will change. Personally, I think in time it's going to change the jurisdictions of licensing. That's over on the legal side. On the other side is it's going to make them competitive like the rest of us who are non-commercial radio stations.
Yeah.
To be competitive.
All right.
All right, let's take a look at Wall Street. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. Thank you, Preston, over there at Smart Lawn. Whoa, the Dow's way up this morning, 406. The Nas is way up, 327, and the S&P's up 72. Maybe telling people to go somewhere where it's hot is working.
Oh, yeah.
Gold's up, 34.38. That's a good climb. Silver's up a little bit, 37.43, and crude oil is down to 66.80. So all the numbers going in the right direction.
All right. Well, we look at a lot of money issues here, and that's what we look at with tariffs. You know, we keep hearing that the tariffs are going to keep increasing money coming into the government. Maybe we can pay down the debt with them, but I'm not sure how that works. So Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville was asked by Larry Kudlow about government-to-government money in the form of tariffs, and if there was a plan on how to handle the money as it comes in and by what mechanism. He also comments on the EU and energy.
Yeah, I hope it does not go through us over in Congress because it'll get lost in the shuffle. I hope they turn it over to Scott Bessent, Kevin Hassett, Ludnick, all the people that have got us in this position. They know where to put the money. And as we heard earlier from Howard Ludnick, it's about energy. Larry, we're so far behind in energy in this country. We think we could beat China right now. They can build a bridge in 3 months. It takes us 3 years because of energy and AI. That cannot continue to happen. And a lot of that money that you're talking about is going to have to go into energy, and it's going to have to go into AI. 100%. You know, after Biden blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, you know, they were weaned off of energy from Russia. But if we don't watch it, that will pick back up because we know where Germany stands. We know where a lot of these European countries stand. They stand more with Russia than they do with us. But they need to understand that we can help them longer and better and be able to ship that over in a proper manner and being able to refine it. Obviously, we'd have to turn it into liquid gas, ship it, and then turn it into regular gas over there. But they need our energy. And, you know, we're going to be able to produce it because we're going to open up the spigots, as President Trump says.
Yeah, this is, if you could take the personalities out of it, which you can't in today's news cycle, but if you just look economically what's happening, the United States has been, but now even more so, the #1 marketplace in the world. And with other companies moving back into the United States, manufacturing, which means job, other companies from other countries moving into the United States, we are the #1 marketplace, and everybody's going to want to do business with us, okay? And sooner or later, these other countries that are holding out for aberrant ideologies are going to acquiesce because they need what we have.
Right.
It's just a matter of time. You know, whoever thought somebody would see this? I told Jerry earlier, this sounds very political. I don't mean it to be.
Okay.
Our family's been very involved in politics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I ran the Republican Party for 4 years. I ran and lost 3 times for Congress. So we have the dirty T-shirts, the scars, and the stitches, okay?
Yes, you do.
It's an ugly thing. But I can tell you this. Republicans always run on what they're going to do.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right.
They get elected,
Yep.
and they become part of the system.
Uh-huh.
We have a president that's doing everything that a Republican's ever run on doing.
Yes.
By the end of his term, it may be all done. So what are the Republicans going to run on in the future? What's left for them to run on?
That's a scary thought. It is.
I mean,
yeah, what else is there? Right.
Now, because the T word's in there, everybody just hates it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, who else would bring the budget back into alignment? Who else would be making...
Well, we know how the Democrats will run. They'll say, we're going to fix everything that Trump ruined.
Mm-hmm.
So the Republicans could just say, we're here to protect the advancements made by the Republican Party and Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's the question of who's going to be their water carrier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of names out there. I don't know.
Right.
I threw your name in the hat and it got thrown out.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Went in, went out.
Don't do that again. Did you learn anything from that?
No. I'll try it again.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
I've been changed. There is a new song in my soul, and it begins when I breathe in your word of
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com. Since 1987, Four Seasons Nursery has been the gold standard in the green industry here in Southern Oregon. Tim Elbert and his friendly staff continue to offer the best plants and most accurate knowledge to create your dream landscape. At Four Seasons Nursery on Crater Lake Avenue, you can let your imagination run wild with a huge selection of all things plant and gardening for both inside and outside beautification. Whether it's a flower for your window seal, one of our beautifully renowned signature hanging baskets, or a complete landscape design for your entire property, Four Seasons Nursery can help you every step of the way with design services, workshops, and more. Let your imagination run wild as you immerse yourself in their nursery filled with beauty that knows no bounds. Four Seasons Nursery, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 1/2 mile north of Vilas Road, 541-779-5603, 541-779-5603.
It can be puzzling assembling all the right pieces for your insurance needs in retirement. I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Guiding you through the stormy seas of insurance, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday to you. All right, a lot going on, and a lot going on in the Middle East, and especially the embassy moving to Jerusalem. You remember President Trump did that.
Yeah,
everybody else talked about it. He did it.
He did it.
And everybody thought it was going to be the collapse of Jerusalem in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And I think 4 other countries have now followed suit.
Oh, wow.
Some little countries, but nonetheless, they've recognized that. So let's check in with CBN News Watch and get caught up.
This is CBN News Watch.
In 2018, the United States broke precedent by moving its embassy to Jerusalem and recognizing the ancient city as the capital of Israel. Since then, a number of other nations have followed suit, and more are being encouraged to do the same. Chris Mitchell brings us that story now from Jerusalem.
Jerusalem is the undisputed, it is the undivided capital of the Jewish state of Israel.
U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee spoke at a recent ceremony recognizing nations relocating their embassies to Jerusalem. Since the U.S. paved the way 7 years ago, Guatemala, Honduras, Kosovo, Papua New Guinea, and Paraguay moved their embassies. Others are said to be in the planning stage.
Argentina, Czechia, Fiji, and other countries too. And we're working very hard together with the government as an NGO to persuade them and to encourage them. And I think the more embassies that move to Jerusalem, the better it is for Israel, the better it is for the West.
Chaim Silberstein, chairman of the Jerusalem Center for Applied Policy, started the group to identify challenges and seek opportunities for the capital city. He takes global policymakers through the city, explaining why Jerusalem matters.
The best way to understand the situation is to visualize it, to see it, to feel it. God has given us Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is always will be and always has been the capital of Israel. But the fact that countries come and recognize it as part of the real politics of the world is so important for us. And we need to strengthen that because we know that Israel and the Jewish people have many enemies around the world.
Silberstein says building and maintaining support has become more urgent since October 7th and the ongoing war.
The State of Israel has worked and is working very hard to harness all those countries that support Israel, because unfortunately there are many that have fallen to the fake news and the false propaganda of what's going on in the war.
Former Deputy Mayor Flor Hassan Nahum points to the city's iconic history.
Jerusalem is the city which is not just the capital of the State of Israel. It's not just the capital of the Jewish nation, but it is the city that made us a nation. 3,000 years ago, King David decided that he needed one united capital to unite the tribes of Israel. So Jerusalem is the place we became the indigenous people of this land. And so your recognition is not just historic, it is practical, and it is the reality that we have today.
In 1967, when Israel reclaimed the city after more than 2,000 years, it marked a profound, and many believe, prophetic turning point.
Back then, soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces fought their way through these ancient streets with trembling voices and tear-filled eyes. They declared, Har Habayit Be'adeinu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Since that miraculous moment, Jerusalem has been rebuilt, renewed, and reopened to peoples of all faiths. Yet, though the armed struggle for Jerusalem was won 58 years ago, the diplomatic struggle still endures. Far too many nations still refuse to recognize this self-evident and fundamental fact that Jerusalem has always been and will forever remain the capital of the people of Israel.
Ambassador Huckabee recounted a sobering conversation he overheard during the ceremony for the U.S. Embassy relocation to Jerusalem.
The young American said, I've been so excited about this, moving our embassy to Jerusalem. I haven't slept in 2 nights. The elderly Jewish gentleman just looked at him and said, the Jews haven't slept in 2,000 years. And now they can sleep knowing that when we pray for the peace of Jerusalem, we are praying for the peace of the capital of the Jewish state, the undivided capital of the Jewish state.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Mike Huckabee, the right guy at the right time at the right place.
Yeah, boy.
Wow, good stuff all the way around. All right, here's the right guy doing the weather.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. An onshore flow will help keep temperatures down, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds becoming mostly sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver and Portland and low 80s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the low 80s for Salem, Albany, and Eugene, and near 79 in Corvallis, with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In central Oregon, becoming sunny with a high in the low 80s around Prineville. Sunny in Bend and Sun River with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Over in Boise, Idaho, decreasing clouds becoming sunny in mid 80s. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny and near 70 in Coos Bay. Sunny in upper 60s in Port Orford. Mostly sunny in mid-50s in Brookings, and partly sunny in Crescent City, California, with a high near 62. In southern Oregon, sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with daytime high temperatures in the mid-80s for Grants Pass and Medford, and low 80s in Ashland and Klamath Falls, and breezy this afternoon in the Klamath Basin. Into Northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-80s for Wairika. Sunny in Redding with a high near 93 through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the low 90s with a light southwest wind. Sunny and breezy today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid-80s for Santa Rosa and Napa, upper 60s in San Francisco with gusts up to 24 miles per hour, and today in San Jose, sunny and 78. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
And a beautiful shot on the east side of the valley looking northwestward, and that's also the color of dry. Don't forget that.
It sure is.
Okay, there you go.
We won't forget. Well, today we celebrate the birthday of a branch of the U.S. Armed Forces with a rich and very proud history. Today, we mark the anniversary of the United States Coast Guard, a branch of the military with a unique mission that blends service, safety, and sacrifice. It all began in 1790 when Alexander Hamilton created the Revenue Cutter Service to enforce customs laws and prevent smuggling. It served as the nation's only armed force afloat from 1790 until the Navy was officially formed in 1798. That small fleet became the modern Coast Guard in 1915, merging with the U.S. Life-Saving Service. Today, the Coast Guard protects more than 100,000 miles of U.S. coastline. From search and rescue to drug interdiction, from environmental protection to homeland security, their work spans oceans, rivers, and skies. They operate under both the Department of Homeland Security and, in times of war, the Navy. The Coast Guard unofficial motto is, "You have to go out, you don't have to come back." On this day, we salute the men and women of the Coast Guard, always ready, always there, for 235 years and counting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, it's interesting to think that branch of the services had ships on the international waters before we ever had a Navy.
Yeah.
And they have served long and proud, and we salute all who have served, including my good buddy, Al Logan. Al Logan served back in the 70s. He served actually in Vietnam. They sent Coast Guard to Vietnam.
Really?
And he also served in a number of places, but in the Bay Area. And those boats that go under the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yeah.
When people did the unthinkable?
Oh, yeah.
They would go and retrieve them.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Al, thank you for your service, and all who have served, our hats off to you.
Good stuff all the way around. All right, so there's been a little bit of a saying, your grandkids are a reward for letting your kids live.
Yeah. It's really true, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, comedian Jeff Allen shares with that. Here's what he had to say.
If you're a young parent, everything I was told about grandchildren is true. It is. They are your reward for letting your teenagers live. Fight the urge, let those ingrates live, and they'll bring you a bundle of joy. They will. But just give them time. But you've never been sicker in your life till you spent time around little children. You know that. They go to preschool. Why the CDC hasn't shut down every preschool in America? I'm not kidding. They're little germ magnet, agar jars, or petri. If you went to an American preschool, shut off all the lights, turn on a black light, it would look like the surface of the sun in that place. And they're 5 years old. They don't know any better. They give stuff to each other. Give this one to your papa. And she'll wait till I'm sleeping on the couch and she just stares at me while I'm laying there. And because of gravity, everything in her little mouth is splashing on my face. It's like sleeping under a toxic rain pipe. Vanilla wafers and Kool-Aid. Get this paste falling on your face. And as soon as I open an eyeball, she goes, "Oh, is that Ebola? I haven't had that one yet." And the worst is when they take a drink out of your water. They hand you the glass, you got a 6-course meal floating around the top of it. Papa will get a new water. Water shouldn't have 40 grams of fiber in it, that's all I And they live nearby, which is really, really cool. We see them a lot. And my son brought her over one day. He thought it'd be funny to teach my 5-year-old granddaughter to give me a wet willy. Yeah, it's funny now. But, so I got her on my lap, and I'm bouncing around, and she's licking her finger, going, "Hey, Papa, hey, Papa, hey, Papa." You know, and it's kind of amusing, you know. 30 seconds into it, she goes, "Papa, I got pink eye." What? Man, squirting Perel in my eye. Oh my God, I want to die. It was cool. She just turned 5. We had the birthday at our house, and it was really kind of cool. And my son dropped her off, and they had to go get her a gift, a bicycle or whatever it was. They didn't want it there, so they drop her off about an hour before the party starts, and she sees all the balloons and everything. She knows it's her birthday. She's 5, so she runs down. I'm on the couch. I'm reading a book. She's running down the hall. "I'm the birthday girl!" And she disappeared. I didn't see her, and then I heard her plow into a wall. And I only tell you this because people after the show will ask me, "What sort of stuff makes you laugh?" That would be one of them right there. I'm sorry. I'm reading a book. She disappears. I hear, "Ah!" You know, that's funny. I'm sorry. That's funny. I tried to comfort her, but I couldn't stop laughing at her.
Well, there you go. Anybody that has, well, look at Dan.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well,
Dan, you catch every disease known to mankind because your kids get it.
Hey, check it out.
Yeah.
First 10 years I worked for the Dove, I didn't take one sick day. 10 years, not a sick day. And then we had grandbabies. Nothing's been the same since.
I know.
I have taken just about every one that I can get.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's like, he's so right.
Yeah. Yeah, you catch everything.
Everything.
You know,
it's okay, but lovingly.
So do you send your kids to preschool in a bubble wrap? What do you do?
Yeah, but you need to bubble wrap yourself when you go see them there. You know, the program that they have that you got to go to? Yeah, get ready.
Well, you can neutralize everything with chocolate chip cookies. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Oh soul, are you weary and troubled? No light in the darkness you see. There's a light for a look at the Savior, and life more abundant and free. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace.
Twin Factor is brought to you on the Dove TV by Black Flag Armory. Firearms, gunsmithing, training, and the best prices in Southern Oregon. Twin Factor, weekends on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Often I've used the term the birth of a vision, the death of a vision, and the resurrection of a vision. And I was talking to Pastor Mark Little, and we ended up having a very open-hearted, transparent conversation last Friday. And he was really putting his heart out there. And so I talked to him a little bit about the birth of a vision, the death of a vision, and the resurrection of a vision, and what it means. And here's a little bit of that conversation.
Boy, that is so true. Particularly when it relates to ministry. I'll say something that's a little controversial, but it's true. Oftentimes, our ministries become egocentric. They become businesses, organizations, ministries, however you want to call it, that revolve around a charismatic leader or founder. And by the way, that charismatic leader or founder is made of flesh and blood.
Yep.
And inherently, flesh and blood is going to fail. It's going to make a mistake. But when the ministry is rooted and grounded in the Creator, the one who birthed the ministry through you, then when something goes wrong, you can look at him and say, all right, I'm waiting for you to fix it.
Yeah. This
is your ministry. Or, how do you want me to grow, Lord? Or, how many services do you want me to have, Lord? Do you want me to build this big cathedral, or do you want me to do satellites or home church like the first century? What's the move of the church in this age, God? I want to hear from you. How do we get these youth to get off their phones and look at you? Through, even if it has to be through technology. How do we get them to do that and not be gamers, but to be lovers of the word? What are you saying, Lord? Not how smart am I? Because God knew technology was going to be here. God knew the impact of AI and what it's doing right now, lying and carrying on. He knew that. So how, are we leaning on him? Yeah. Are we leaning on our tech gurus who are ungodly?
Whoa, isn't that interesting? Huh?
So the birth of a vision's got your hands on it. The death of the vision takes your hands off of it. And the resurrection of the vision is God's ministry for your life.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that was some great
good stuff.
Conversation.
Got some great conversation coming up. A couple of good guests. I think we'll find to be pretty good stuff all the way around.
He talked a little bit about technology there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm going to continue with it because we see some really weird things on the internet. Just when
have you noticed AI? Have you seen it?
I have.
I am really surprised how AI is putting well-known people in compromised positions.
I just saw an AI piece last night of the manager of my favorite Major League Baseball team talking about that he was resigning because of the poor performance of the team, and he went on to discuss it in vulgar terms, and I'm watching and I'm thinking, this isn't real. Mm-hmm. This is totally 100% AI. It was his image, it was his voice, his lips were moving and the words were matching perfectly. Mm-hmm. And I thought, how did they, well, it's all AI, but there are people who are watching this that are believing this.
Yeah.
And that's the danger.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, in case you thought the internet had run out of surprises, think again. Look at this.
A creative soul on Etsy recently stunned and amused the world by selling beetles dressed up as characters from Jurassic Park. Yeah, actual beetles dressed up, and people bought them. The artist behind it all explained this wasn't her usual gig. She doesn't regularly outfit insects in miniature movie costumes. It was a one-up art project for a show, and after the event wrapped, she put the beetles up for sale online. Naturally, the internet reacted exactly as you'd expect, with hilarious disbelief. One commenter wrote, "Knowing that such an individual exists and is roaming this very world makes life a little brighter." Another added, "I'm not sure if I should be laughing or being scared," and a third chimed in perfectly, "You should be both." One thing is for sure, this Jurassic bug exhibit gave the world a little unexpected joy and probably a few confused chuckles as well.
Jurassic beetles? Oh, boy.
Somebody's got too much time on their hands or something like that.
Stars. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, you know, when you get the grandkids over and you're looking for something approved that everybody can watch on TV, sometimes you lose context of what's in the movie. And I remember I had the kids over and I said, let's watch something. They said, okay, Grandpa, what are we going to watch? I said, oh, wait a minute, let's watch Jurassic Park. And they're like, no, my parents said I can't watch this. I'm thinking,
oh, boy.
And Pam says, Grandpa, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
She goes, good things they corrected you.
Oh, Jurassic Park. So are these beetles alive or dead, and do they stink?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
You've often heard me say doers. Talkers are takers, doers are givers. So the scripture says in James chapter 1, verse 22, be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourself. Do what you believe. Practice what you believe. Say what you believe. Exercise what you believe. And then do it.
Amen.
There was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I'll see you move.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
Where big ideas grow.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Bulls, bears, and other market beasts. How can you be sure they won't eat your investments alive? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. As you navigate the stormy seas of investing, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Where does the Bible teach that a whole generation of believers around the world will be taken en masse into God's presence at the time of the rapture? Today, we will take you step by step through what the Bible reveals will happen at the moment of the rapture and how this mighty act of power will lead the world into the future events the Bible predicts will happen in the last days.
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 o'clock right here on the Dove TV.
Get the day's top news from a Christian worldview. CBN Newswatch, weekdays at noon and 4:30 on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Delighted to have a new guest with us today, Eric Weir. He's the author of Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential financial advice that will transform your life. He's the principal of WCM Global Wealth LLC, a wealth advisory firm that serves clients from the biggest multi-platinum to Grammy-winning recording artists, sports icons, celebrities from all over the place. Eric is also a previous owner of the WTA Media and has served as executive producer for films including Unbroken, Path to Redemption, and Run the Race, which was produced by Tim Tebow. He does have a website. By the way, there's a picture of the cover of his book, Who's Eating Your Pie. And his website, Eric Weir, WEIR.com. And there's the picture of the landing page of his website, ericweir.com. Eric, good to see you. How are you, friend?
Well, it's great to be here, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Where are you? Where are we Skyping you in from?
I'm in Greenville, South Carolina currently.
Okay. Nice to see you. Thanks for your time. Wow, this is fascinating. I want to get into the book, but tell us your story and how you got to what you're doing.
Oh, my word. How much time do you have?
About 3 minutes.
Yes. That works. So, I was blessed at age 5 to have a car wreck that resulted in a brain injury, that resulted in a stutter that lasted till age 40. And what I mean by I was blessed is we went to my speech therapist, and this is 1972. This is like the non-PC speech therapist. And basically said, Eric, life's going to be hard, and odds are you'll be reclusive, and it'll set you up to fail. But she reframed it. She said, but, and that was the key word. If you choose to view every conversation as an obstacle you overcome, and every interaction as a challenge, you'll overcome more obstacles and challenges than most people do in a lifetime by the time you're 18. But the choice is yours. And that reframing was the setup, is I was never led to believe that life would be easy, it would be difficult, and it took planning and it took strategy.
Wow. How did you get into financial advisory and wealth management?
So I was in real estate at age 18. I got my real estate license, and I syndicated my first shopping center site while I was in college, and did really well. And then the next 2 years, I made zero. So I decided to have a change of fields. During college, I'd purchased 2 stocks, Coca-Cola and Home Depot, and they did well. So I thought, I'm going to go into the financial service industry.
Okay, so what led to your book, Who's Eating? I love the title, Who's Eating Your Pie?
Oh, the title's the best, and I can tell you about that in a second. But what led to the book is I wrote it during COVID, because I noticed all the depression, anxiety, and separation people were feeling. And I thought, people have forgotten to dream. They've forgotten to connect and how important community is. So I wrote a book called Who's Eating Your Pie? And the first chapter is Permission to Dream. And most of us forget to dream by the time we're 10 years old. By the time we're in our 40s, we just want a good night's sleep. Right. So I just re-engaged with simple, time-tested strategies, things that I've used to make massive change over time.
Okay. COVID was an amazing reset in America. And economically, it put people from paycheck to paycheck. And they're stuck in that. Their brain is like, this is it for the rest of my life.
Correct.
And I realize a lot of this is attitude, but what do you say to that?
I love those conversations, because I basically say people want change without changing. And that's something that I think we need to think about. And I also remind them that hope is not a strategy. And usually you have to reframe a situation, knowing what I know now, knowing what I'm capable of. And I start with, what could I do to make an extra $300 in a week or a month, whatever it happens to be. And then I list 20 things. It could be, I could wash a car, I could clean a house, I could sell some of my things I don't use on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. And you just begin to think differently, and one thing builds on another. And I can give a couple of examples, if you'd like to, of people who started from nothing and ended up in a great spot in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, go ahead. Give us a few samples.
So one sample is a company that was founded in San Francisco in the 90s. A woman was divorced. She had 4 small children, and she had no income and very little child support, and was faced with not being able to make her rent or any of her bills. So she went to garage sales, and she bought furniture. She brought it home. She painted it off-white. She had kids, so she had them hit it with sandpaper, beat it with a chain, so it distressed it, right? And she started a company called Shabby Chic, and that became a $100 million plus business for her, and it came out of a point of desperation. And most people's massive changes or reframing come from just hitting the rock bottom. It comes from a very difficult time. Very few people make change without duress.
I've often said, Eric, at the end of the day, You can read books, read yours. You can hear sermons. You can go to seminars. You can do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, only two things change you: inspiration or desperation.
That's really true. Yeah, yeah. And if you can do more of one than the other, it makes for a better life.
Yeah. And to your point is that people want change without changing. How do you, I mean, that's the big gap. How do you bridge it?
I just try to be honest with people. Just candor and authenticity is a powerful tool. So I'll just say, why haven't you achieved your goals already? And they're like, well, I don't have the money or the resources. I said, that's not true. If you have clarity, you can attract money, resources, time, talent. Anything you want can be derived with clarity. Why don't you have clarity on how to get there? I don't. Well, that's where you need to take the step. How do you get there? What do you need if you couldn't fail? Permission to Dream talks about you start in the sky with your goals. I want to have X, Y, Z. Then how do you get there? Because if you start today thinking of minor changes, your lies you believe about yourself and your limiting beliefs will stop you from dreaming too large. If you reframe it and then you think of what progressive steps, who do I need to know, who do I need to work with to get there, there are ways to make massive change over relatively short periods of time.
How has your faith shaped your view about success and money?
I think two things have been big. When you start tithing and giving away to charities, nonprofits, or people in need of both your time, talent, or treasure, you find that whatever, those things no longer control you. You're not controlled by your money because you realize you're giving some away. You're not controlled by your time, you're giving some away. And you're not controlled by your talent because you're giving back. And when you do that, it seems to reframe your attitude, and just it's like a different energy you put off, that you're more attractive and less repellent. So if someone knows you're generous, you're not trying to take, then that changes everything about who you are as a person. And then my faith that all things work for the good of those who love and serve God. That's a big deal, right? Because there are things that I've had happen to me that look like a horrible idea, or like it was just a diabolical plan. And then you see a year or two later that God wouldn't have gotten you where you are without those outside forces. Wow. So those are things that I had to remind myself of. And to say it's easy and I don't have challenges would not be true. But having that as a foundation to go back to and ask God to show me what you want me to learn. Can I learn it quicker? Get out of the trial. But just to be teachable is very important.
So there's two aspects of that. One is, what would you say to people who feel that it's perhaps immoral to think about money in greater amounts, and those who have it who are hoarding it?
Yeah, they're both fear-based. One is they're both fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown for the person without wealth is maybe judges people of saying, "Hey, you have wealth, you're evil, you got that by compromising." That's just not true. I know more people I know who are wealthy or generous than those who are not. And then the people who are wealthy who hoard it usually are fear-based. Their trust isn't in God at all. Their trust is in their money. And it says that wealth has wings like an eagle and flies away, and it's true. So everything's transitory. And if you could realize that no matter how wealthy you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter where you are, this too shall pass, including yourself. So I think taking yourself too seriously is a mistake, and hanging on to possessions too seriously is also a mistake.
In your coaching, Eric, do you see trends or habits of certain groups of people? And I say that respectfully. I mean, if you're talking with CEOs and professional people and people who have high income, is there a pattern in how they manage it?
Yeah, usually they make a lot of mistakes at first. Usually it's new money, new experiences, new things consumed with stuff. And then at some point, it is a blessing. I've heard many actors and people even say it publicly. The best thing that wealth did for them was tell them that it doesn't make you happy. And in fact, oftentimes it creates problems with children, family members, taxation, just education. So it can be challenging too. So when you add the components of generosity, when you add some of these things into family generosity and having kids involved in giving, there are ways to manage every scenario. But money does change things. Also, the lack of money changes things. And statistically, once you make somewhere between $85,000 and $125,000 a year, depending on where you are in the U.S., another $1 million or $2 doesn't materially change your life. It changes it, but not materially. You're still have a car. Maybe you're driving a car that's 4 years old, or maybe you're driving a new car. Maybe you live in a house that's 1,500 square feet, or maybe it's 15,000. But you still have a house. You have air conditioning. You have access to clean water, clean energy, and communication. So your life doesn't change that much after a certain point. So the Bible says, don't wear yourself out to get rich. So getting rich for getting rich's sake is a really bad thing. Getting wealthy to help prepare people to give back, to educate is different.
I've often, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question. A lot of this hinges on how people initially were taught on how to manage money. Yeah. And a lot of people weren't taught how to manage money. They don't know how to budget it. They don't know what a balance sheet is. They don't know what a P&L is. How dangerous is all that?
Well, it's very dangerous. And if you rely upon the school system, they don't teach about money management. They don't teach many of the courses of carpentry or things they used to teach 50, 60 years ago. That were just useful tools to have as you mature as an adult. They don't teach that at all. But the good news is, when you're talking about the scary things of technologies, there's so many things available on YouTube or on podcast or ways to find things out and learn about budgeting and learn things. It's very, very positive. The access to information and technology is virtually limitless now. So now you can learn things that maybe you wouldn't have had access to before.
Okay. I want to ask you one quick question, then I'll take a break. Is the American dream gone for younger generations, and that being owning their own home?
It's changed a lot. You have companies like BlackRock and others that have decided to move into the residential single-family home market and buy up tens of thousands of homes and make them rental property, which in some ways is helpful for access to some people. In other ways, it may be seen concerning. Also, you look at the income wages since 1970 have gone up at a much, like one-third the pace of the cost of owning a home. So it's gotten to be more out of reach, and home buyers are starting at later ages. That being said, it's just a goal and it's something to think about. And if it's important, there are strategic things you can do to get there. But it certainly is more challenging than it was 50 years ago.
Okay. Let me take a quick break. Check out the book, Who's Eating Your Pie? And there's a picture of the book on the screen there. Do you guys have that? The right one? There it is. Who's Eating Your Pie? And then the other one is his website, ericweir.com is the website. You can go there. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Chris Silva understands your home and your commercial buildings are two of the largest investments most people make in a lifetime. One is for your family, the other is to support your family financially. That is why Chris Silva Painting goes the extra mile to protect both homes and commercial buildings with proper painting preparation and high-quality primers and paints. Serving Southern Oregon since 2006, this family-owned and operated business has painted over 1,000 homes. Chris Silva Painting offers an industry-leading 5-year warranty that covers materials and labor on all painting projects work for both residential and commercial buildings, both interior and exterior painting. Chris and his crew are courteous, they are efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Where does the Bible teach that a whole generation of believers around the world will be taken en masse into God's presence at the time of the rapture? Today, we will take you step by step through what the Bible reveals will happen at the moment of the rapture and how this mighty act of power will lead the world into the future events the Bible predicts will happen in the last days.
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 o'clock right here on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. Honored to have with us today Eric Ware. He's the author of Who's Eating Your Pie, which is essential financial advice for a lot of people. And there's a picture of the cover of the book. And he does have a website, ericware.com. Eric, where can they get the book? Online?
Yeah. There are two ways to get a good read. You can also download it, but many people like to get it online at Amazon.com.
Okay, thank you. I got 3 questions to ask you in a short amount of time. I want to talk about real estate, 401ks, and credit. How dangerous is credit?
Oh, it's good. It's good and bad, right? It's like everything else. So having good credit I think is helpful if you intend to borrow money. Never having a card or building credit in the society the way it's set up is probably a detriment to you. My recommendation is something like an American Express card where you're required to pay it off each month, or a small Visa card or something where you pay it off each month, or a car where you make payments that you can afford. Don't finance more than 3 years. Don't do like the 5 or 7 year plan. But it's very easy to overdo it. So just be thoughtful when you're starting out if you're seeking to build credit.
What's your view on real estate investments?
I think real estate is a great asset class. I think there's unique tax advantages that are available to it, unlike other investments. But it carries unique opportunities and unique risk. It's illiquid, meaning if you want to sell it, meaning physical real estate, you might not be able to. You could have changes in interest rates, changes in economics. But people can participate by direct ownership of real estate, or also by owning funds called real estate investment trust that allow a professional manager to manage on your behalf. And for many people, that's an easier way to get in. You can start with $50 and you're not having to buy a house and manage it.
Yeah, questions there, but I don't have time to drill down on it. Just curious, since COVID, has commercial real estate changed significantly?
It's got much more difficult because I think what happened with the change in monetary supply and interest rates, the governments around the world were raising interest rates, it's changed substantially. Also, the way people consume and operate has changed. People are working more remotely. They've changed their consumption patterns. They've changed a lot of things since COVID. So it has changed. There have been those areas that have benefited and those areas that have not. So it just really depends on where you are. But real estate is substantially impacted by interest rates. And those are, if you borrowed money on a home, there was loans that 3% made, back in the heyday of the lower rates. And then there are those that are multiples of that at this point in time. And different asset classes, subcategories of real estate, it could be much higher than 6, 8, or 9%. It just depends on the area and the desirability of the lending institution to participate in that sector.
Are 401k still a good tool for retirees?
I think they're a good tool if you have an employer match. So the idea is you're putting money away and not paying taxes. That's the advantage. The disadvantage is you're going to pay taxes later. So imagine would you rather pay tax on the seed or tax on the harvest? You'd rather pay tax on the seed. That being said, a Roth IRA is a great way to put money aside that you don't get a tax break today, but you don't pay tax on it later. If a 401k has an employer match, then it's oftentimes a great way to go, because if you put in, say, 4% and they match 2%, you've had effectively a 50% return immediately. So a 401k with an employer match can be a fantastic way to go. If you don't have an employer match, you may want to look at a Roth IRA, or you may still want to participate. It just depends on your individual situation.
Okay, I'm going to come back to a biblical principle, and that is, while you are building your portfolio, philanthropy has to be a part of it, don't you think?
100%. Yep.
Explain that.
So, the only thing in Scripture that God ever says to test Him on is in giving, right? And I think it's inherent because we're all bound by fear and fear of scarcity. So to give is trust. If you give in a relationship, if you give money, if you give your time, there's a certain element of trust that's embedded in that gift. So I think when you give your resources, there's trust in God to provide, or trust that He'll replace or take care of you, right? So it requires trust. But I haven't seen people who are generous generally have some of the financial difficulties others have had. It's not always the case, but oftentimes when you give, your relationship with money, it changes.
I want to come back to, I guess, the making of the American dream, if I could put it that way. Young families that are starting out, and in today's world, it is really difficult. And I know your book aims at that. How would you advise a young couple starting out to not be overwhelmed with the fear of money?
I think just have unity and clarity. So sit down as a couple and say, where would you like to be reasonably? Look at your income that you would earn, either as employee or having some kind of side thing that you're doing, and just see where you want to go. Many times, people can do things on the side, like we mentioned earlier, refinish used furniture, pick up a side thing that you're in control of your hours a little bit more, and you can change your income materially. So it's just it comes back to unity and being together, and then communicate about it regularly, because money can be a point of contention in a relationship. So the more you communicate, oftentimes the better off you are, and have shared goals that you understand together.
In that light, young people are building their careers. They're building their, they're moving up.
Yeah.
What's your advice of staying spiritually grounded and not being financially focused?
I think that to me, there's 5 F's: faith, family, fitness, finance, friends. Faith is a lens, your belief system that you see the world through, and what you believe is going to affect everything. If you ignore your family, if you ignore your faith, if you ignore your friends, if you ignore your fitness, any of these areas, you can do for a bit of time, but it consumes you in the end. And what I found is that having some way to evaluate where you are in the 5 F's is helpful. It's very difficult, maybe impossible, to have a balanced life, but you can live a life of harmony, where you harmonize, knowing that, hey, I'm a young family, we're going to spend more time in this area and less in another for a period of time, but we can't ignore it forever because it'll catch up with us. So I think harmonizing life, being a person of faith, and then being a person of purpose.
So, Eric, what do you want people to take away from your book?
I would say I just want them to dream and realize that it's never too late. No matter if you've had a failed relationship, failed finances, made bad decisions, God has a plan for you. You have a bright future, and it's time to take ownership of wherever you are, and realize that you'll be the same person 10 years from today that you are now, absent the people you spend time with and the things you put in your head, whether with books or podcasts or radio. But it's your education and your association that will indicate your future.
Good stuff. Just curious, how do you think our economy is doing these days?
I think our economy is fairly strong in general. I think there are pockets that are having challenging times, and I think there are there's a workforce out there of people who are looking for work, and there's people who are looking not to work. So, but I do think in general, if you look at our economy, it's fairly strong. There are always things that we could talk about that I think it could end up being made better, but it appears to be fairly strong in general.
Are we heading in the right direction?
It's always hard to say. It depends on how you would quantify it. I think that Americans, I think the best thing I'd love to see is for people to come together and to be more of a consensus would be great. I think also for people to recognize values of family and relationship would be great. But I think most of the things that make a great country are not even the monetary aspects; they're the relational and societal aspects.
Okay. Get a copy of the book. It's called Who's Eating Your Pie? There's the picture. There's a picture of the cover of the book on the screen. You can get it online. And then check it out through his website, Eric Weir, WEIR.com. And there's a picture of his landing page. Eric, you're fascinating. Thank you, friend, for your time.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Tally, and thank you very much.
Okay.
The right cleaning company matters. Choose Dust Plus Cleaning and Carpet Care, a family-owned company proudly serving Grants Pass and nearby communities for over 25 years. We're passionate about delivering the best, whether it's carpets, using purified water for no window spots, or carefully washing solar panels. We're committed to superb customer service from start to finish. Radiant spaces from local professionals. Request a free quote today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Well, welcome back. It's been a while since we've had Jeff Cruer with us. He's a veteran political commentator. He's a columnist, a host of the longtime running radio program Ringside Politics and radio and TV show. He's the president and general manager of WGSO Radio in New Orleans and a nationally syndicated voice on the Real America Voice. Jeff is also the author of a fascinating book entitled America's Last Chance, and there's a picture of the cover of the book. He does have a website, Cruere, CROUERE.net, and there's the picture of the landing page. Jeff, good to see you again, friend. How are you?
Hey, long time no see, Perry. Good to be with you.
Are you sleeping at night?
I sleep better now that Donald Trump is president, I'll tell you that.
So many things to talk to you about. See if we can get some snapshots here. What's your take on where the Epstein issue is going to go?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's going to be ongoing. We got to see what's going to happen to Ghislaine Maxwell. I know she was just sent to a push club fed. And I guess that was to reward her for cooperating. And I just don't want to see her pardoned because I think she's really been involved in so many crimes with Epstein, and I know the victims don't want to see her pardoned. So hopefully she'll provide more information, and we'll be able to reveal more to the American people. I think that's been the real problem. They promised there would be the files revealed. They claim that there was nothing there. We know that there's plenty there. And I'm still not even convinced that the man committed suicide, Perry. From what they've released regarding the video, it raises a lot of questions. The more they release, the more questions there are. So, I go by the forensic pathologist, Michael Bodden, who said he was the injuries more reflect a homicide than a suicide. So there are a lot of powerful people, obviously, that want this case to go away. I don't think President Trump is at all involved in anything nefarious. I think he cut off ties to Jeffrey Epstein, but I think other powerful people are. So we'll see where it goes. I think it's in the best interest of the country to reveal as much as we can, as quickly as we can, because this has been dragging on for way too long.
Isn't it a little bit of a dead-end street with her? I mean, if she isn't communed with her sentence, There's no incentive for her to come to Congress and testify, and she can't declare the fifth. If she does come to Congress without some kind of a deal, she just declares the fifth. So nothing really happens.
Well, I mean, she's already been rewarded for her cooperation with the Deputy Attorney General by getting the new accommodations. I mean, I'm sure there are other things that can be done short of pardoning her. You know, maybe there can be a reduction in her sentence.
Okay.
You know, whereby she continues to serve in prison for a number of years, but it's reduced. There are some ways, I think, that can incentivize her to cooperate.
The other thing on this story, and we'll move on, is it seems to be stuck. I mean, the files went back to Congress before they go to the court. What's the protocol here?
I mean, yeah, that's a good. I mean, everything. Yeah, you're right. It does seem to be stuck. I mean, as far as Ghislaine Maxwell coming before Congress, as far as the files, as far as what we've been, given so far. I mean, the response from the DOJ investigation. Yeah, it does seem to be in a holding pattern right now. And I guess that's going to be the case until Congress comes back. I mean, we've got a month now of all of this sort of being talked about without any real action until they return.
Okay, moving on to Russiagate, Obamagate, the whole gate thing as it deals with the Russia hoax. This is an amazing thing that continues to unravel, and more evidence is coming out of a coup. This is absolutely stunning. First of all, what's your take on it before we drill down on it?
Well, I agree with Tulsi Gabbard. I think it's treasonous conspiracy. I think you had actors that were trying to subvert the Trump presidency, and I think it was all a lie. I mean, basically, it was a way to prevent Hillary Clinton's email scandal from getting traction, to divert the attention to this issue, to create this out of thin air, and really to, obviously help bring down the Trump campaign. He wound up winning, and then make sure that he wasn't effective as president by hanging this over his head for his term. And it led to the Mueller investigation and the whole special counsel. So it was effective by that degree, because it certainly harmed the Trump presidency, but it was absolutely illegal in my opinion. You had crimes that were committed. I would like to see a lot of these people indicted. I don't think that's going to happen, Perry, because the evidence shows that over the years, these Democrats can get away with whatever they want to get away with, and they're never held accountable.
So you don't expect any indictments?
I don't. I would be very pleasantly surprised if there are, because I think criminal behavior occurred. I'm just basing it on the past track record. I mean, look at the Durham Index, appendix. You had all of this damaging information that was concealed for all these years. I mean, Durham had it. And it was in some kind of burn bag or some kind of secret room in the DOJ. They're just now, it was like a haunted house with all the secret rooms and secret passageways. I mean, it's just so frustrating. We've been talking about this for so many years. We called it out from the very beginning as to what it was. I mean, it was all a bunch of lies. The Steele dossier is just a bunch of lies.
Okay, so
but they ran with it.
No, excuse me, but at the end of the day, I understand the core of the issue may be protected by statutes and limitations. I don't know, but perjury isn't.
Right.
And you kind of wonder, could they?
Well, John Brennan would have probably the most exposure because he clearly lied. I mean, Hillary Clinton, President Trump had a chance maybe to pursue charges against her in the first term. He decided not to do it. Barack Obama now has immunity. The Supreme Court decided that. So I think he's pretty much protected. So at the best thing that we can get is exposure, is a total revelation again to the American people as to what happened here, so that we know exactly the crimes that were committed. And maybe they won't get prosecuted, but at least the information can get out there. Same thing with the Epstein files. I mean, I think the American people are so tired of being lied to and having the facts hidden from us. So that can be one of the best things that the Trump administration does. Get all this information out to the public. We've seen the RFK, JFK, MLK files. released, we need to keep doing that. I mean, that is productive.
So am I hearing you say also, Jeff, that the fatigue factor is so high that America, all right, expose it but move on without any consequences?
I mean, I'd love to see consequences. I just, have never seen the DOJ act in that way toward Democrats. I mean, there's a double standard of justice. Even though we have our people in place over there, how many layers underneath them are filled with career bureaucrats? I mean, we just found from the Bureau of Labor Statistics a Biden person that was, according to President Trump, fudging the job numbers. So he had to fire her. How many more of these plants are all throughout the DOJ and all throughout the government? I just would be pleasantly surprised if it does lead to charges and convictions. I think it should. Just based on the past track record, I don't see that happening. That's all.
Okay, I understand that. But you do expect it to go to hearing before Congress.
I'd like to see it go to multiple hearings. I mean, these are major crimes that were committed. Republicans have had the opportunity many times to expose Democrat misdeeds, and going back to the Obama years and certainly during Biden. I think Biden, Perry, should have been impeached for everything that he did as president, for his dereliction of duty at the border. It never happened. So a lot of times I get my expectations up for what Republicans in Congress are going to do, and they usually let me down.
Okay, quite the blow up over the weekend in the Senate. The president told Schumer to go to someplace that's very hot. And out of that came Schumer says the art of the deal fell apart when really the art of the deal was upheld, because part of the deal was extortion on Schumer's part for $1 billion. What's your take?
I think the president made the right move. He told Schumer the right thing. He did the right thing. You don't deal with Chuck Schumer. I mean, that guy's, in my opinion, a crook, Perry. So, yeah, he wanted $1 billion payoff. I mean, the art of the deal is there. I mean, sometimes with the art of the deal, you got to walk away. And look at the deals the president's doing with trade. I mean, he is a great consummate deal maker. And if there was a deal for the American people to make with Chuck Schumer, I think he would have done it. So now they go to recess. And as the president said, the Republicans can tell the story of what happened to the American people. We need to get back in September, and they need to start confirming more of the president's nominees. We need to get busy. Enough with these recesses, Perry. These people take more vacations than anybody I know.
Yes.
And you pay them a lot of money.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So do you think, gosh, there's so many questions here. How do you think it's looking for midterm 26?
Well, I just wrote a column about this. I think the Republicans are in good shape because the Democrats are literally hated. Harry Enton, the data analyst on CNN, did a great sort of expose of the Democrats. So they've got a negative 30% approval number with the Wall Street Journal poll. CNN and Gallup have them at negative 26%. Quinnipiac did a study of congressional Democrats, and their approval rating is 19%. So the Democratic Party is hated. Now, President Trump has got a 49% approval rating based on the latest Rasmussen poll, which I think is the most reputable. So that's a difference of 30 points. So I think if the American people stick with President Trump and his agenda, they're going to have to vote for these Republicans, because you can't turn over power to the Democrats. All they'll do is impeach President Trump again, Perry. I mean, that's all they have, just Trump derangement syndrome. That's their agenda. Go after President Trump.
Texas is in an interesting spot as the Democrats got up and walked out and went to another state. And I was researching this morning the protocols of what happens with that. Now, here in the state of Oregon, we had a similar thing. The Republicans walked out on a bill, and they stayed one extra day out. And by doing that, they lost their ability to run for re-election. They had to sit out a term, which was pretty interesting. So there's a consequence to this. Over on the Democratic side in Texas, it's called abandonment. And if they have abandoned their responsibility, even if it's for a day, the governor can oust them. And he's threatening to do it. I mean, this is significant. It's all over reapportionment. What's your take?
He should do it, Barry. He's got to do it. They've abandoned their constituents. They've abandoned their job. They're trying to play, this game, and he's got to call them on it. So they're hiding out. They're not doing the work of the people. They're preventing the will of the people from being fulfilled in the great state of Texas. So yes, he should dump all of them. They'll all lose their position, and then you got a quorum. Then you can get these districts redrawn. There'll be 5 new Republican districts. Democrats do this to Republicans all the time.
Right.
And Republicans just don't play the same game as Democrats, but they should.
Do you think Governor Abbott's got the tenacity to do it?
I hope so. I think he's a tenacious guy. I mean,
What's he got to lose? What's he got to lose?
Nothing. He's term limited, right?
Yeah.
So he would become a hero in the Republican Party if he did this.
Yeah. All right, let me take a quick break. Carreras' website, Carrere.net, CROUERE.net. Check it out. And check out his book, America's Last Chance. Where can they get the book, Jeff?
My website, Carrere.net.
All right, check it out. All right, we'll be right back.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry, LLC can help you protect your property with adequate fire brush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
When we first got to the hospital and to see Ben's head was bandaged and there was blood seeping through it, and I could see this big contusions on it, so I just prayed quickly for him.
I'm looking at Jeff and he's tearing up and crying a bit, and I'm thinking, Lord, what is going on? And what do you want me to do or us to do? And he said, pray with hope.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back, and a delight to have back with us today Jeff Carrere. He is the veteran political commentator, columnist, host of the long-running Ringside Politics, which is a radio and television program. He's also the president and general manager at WGSO Radio there in New Orleans, and also a voice of the nationally syndicated Real America Voice. And his book, entitled America's Last Chance, and there's a picture of the cover of the book. And he does have a website, Carrere, and that's spelled CROUERE.net. There's a picture of his landing page. Again, Jeff, thanks for your time. I know you're a busy guy. I want to kind of talk about a little something you and I are involved in every day. It's called media. And what's so interesting about it is we see some major changes in our industry over the last couple of years. But what's really been interesting to me is it's been an all-out force by the legacy media to wipe out President Trump. And it appears now that it has not only backfired, but it's killing them. Their ratings are plummeting like crazy. What's your take?
Oh, I think it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch, Perry. I mean, these people are corrupt. Let's start with the late night shows. I mean, they've turned into just bashing Donald Trump, and now Stephen Colbert has been canceled. So that's a victory, I think. Maybe CBS is trying to move in the right direction. They made that settlement with President Trump for what they did during the 60 Minutes show. ABC had to settle with him for lying about him being, charged with rape. So they had to make a payment there. So President Trump has been very successful in taking on these left-wing media giants and really making them be held accountable for their lies. And the American people have so many choices now. Your program, my program. The good news is we're not forced to watch ABC, CBS, NBC evening news every night. We've got more choices. And American people are voting with their remotes and abandoning these programs. I mean, Stephen Colbert had an audience of about 2.4 million. That was less than a third of what Johnny Carson generated on his show. He had about 9 million a night. So these programs have lost their influence, thankfully, and they should.
The Wall Street Journal and the New York Times both have gotten caught. And these are two biggies that kind of were, maybe you could go to and get a straight thing, but you're kind of wondering, why in the world would they jeopardize their reputation for such stupid things?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, what reputation, Perry? I mean, do they have a reputation? I mean, yeah. I think the reputation for these entities is in the toilet, where it deserves to be. I grew up respecting some of these entities as, unbiased journalism, but I mean, it's been exposed over the years. They're basically just cheerleaders for the Democrats. So, yeah, I think the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, is now facing this massive lawsuit from President Trump. The New York Times has no credibility at all, Perry. I mean, look at all the Pulitzer Prizes that they won for the false reporting on Russiagate. They won't return them. I mean, that's a travesty that the Pulitzer Prizes were given to these entities based on lies.
Well, so, the recent one of New York Times showing the mother holding the child and said it was a starving
and you notice
Palestinian,
that went out to a large number of their subscribers, and then the retraction or the correction was issued that a much smaller number of their readers received that information. So it wasn't really a full-scale apology either for the mistake. So, yeah, it's just another blow to their ever-shrinking credibility.
Do you think the average American, from your discussions, and you're on radio and television, so do you think people understand the tariff issue?
I think they do. I mean, I think they understand trade. I think President Trump has explained it well, that we have been abused during all these years, that there are countries that flood our market and that we aren't allowed access to their market. There are countries where we have to pay a higher tariff than they have to pay here. So he I think, clearly explained it being fair trade, reciprocal tariffs. And now he has negotiated these trade deals, which are really to our benefit, which are favoring America in the type of 180 degrees from how it was before, where we were being taken advantage of. Now we're in the driver's seat. I mean, we had a massive trade deficit with the EU of like $235 billion, and that's going to be changed. Now the big one is China, to try to get that reformulated. Japan is now opening their markets to us. So I think the American people understand it. Of course, the economists don't seem to understand it, Perry, because they keep saying that it's going to lead to inflation. And last time I checked, that hadn't happened.
Yeah, which is so interesting to me, because when President Trump held up that card and showed the inequities between countries and trade, that was a visual that resonated. I think, quite frankly, he needs to do more of that, because we're such a visual culture now. But when we saw the differences, it did calm things down. And to your other point, I've interviewed a lot of columnists, and they're having a hard time coming to the party that he's right. They're really dragging their heels like, well, okay, yeah, it's working. But one of the net gains out of this will be America, who's always been, will be solidly the marketplace of the world. And everybody is going to want to do business with us.
Right. And they are having to compromise. They are having to agree to major investments in this country to allow us to put tariffs on their goods for them to have access to our markets. And that's the way it should be. We're the number one market in the world. So we're in the driver's seat as far as negotiating these deals. That's why the president's been able to get such great deals with the UK, Japan, the EU. And it's going to continue because this is the most desirable market. And everybody wants to have access to our consumers. We're a consumer-driven economy. Now, what's interesting is that the tariffs have not led to higher prices. So you've got these companies that are absorbing these increases without passing them on to the customers. So what we've seen so far, hopefully that will continue. And hopefully we'll be able to continue with this very low, manageable rate of inflation. The real missing piece of the economy is the interest rate issue. It right now is stuck because the Federal Reserve Chair refuses to reduce interest rates.
Well, that was my next question to you. Jerome Powell is obviously, it's a vendetta to him, but his own board, two of them say no, they need to go ahead and lower rates. One actually now has resigned, which opens up a slot for the president to do a nomination. Do you think the American people see Jerome as nothing more than a personal vendetta against the president?
I do, because let's not forget what he did last year. I mean, he reduced the rates multiple times to help Biden-Harris. And, it was questionable for him to do it then, but there's no question for him doing it now, and he won't do it. Because obviously, if we reduce interest rates, that's going to help the economy. That's going to help with people in their credit card debt. That's going to help people be able to realize the American dream and buy a home. It's going to help the real estate industry. I mean, there's so many ways that is going to help, but he refuses to do it. He's waiting for this imaginary inflation to hit from the tariffs, and he's just being obstinate. So, and by the way, what is he doing building a Taj Mahal? I mean, there's plenty of available office space in Washington, D.C. These guys don't deserve a Taj Mahal. I mean, it's $3.1 billion, Perry, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not held accountable for that. That's already $500 million higher than it was bidded for, and you kind of go, really? Really? A building in Washington, D.C. is worth $3.1 billion on a remodel?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even Home and Garden TV would love to have that job.
Do a whole season series on that job.
I was going to say, yeah, give it to one of those shows. That'd be great. One other quick question. Do you think trying to figure out how to ask it, do you think the mega base for the president is waning or divided?
No. I mean, even though I don't think the president handled the whole Epstein thing in the beginning very well. I don't think he should have attacked the base, which he did. He's later been much calmer in dealing with the questions. He hadn't been as antagonistic toward the base. But I saw poll numbers that show the base is with him stronger than ever. So the Republicans haven't abandoned him. There's no one to leave President Trump in support. He is MAGA. He is the Republican Party right now. And there's strong support. Where he has lost some support is in independents, and he never had it with the Democrats. But among Republicans, it's strong, maybe stronger than ever. And that's why he's got a decent approval rating of 49%. I mean, I'd love to see it higher. I mean, I'd love people to give him credit for, Perry, everything that he's done in these first 6 months. I mean, the accomplishments are tremendous, from the peace deals, the trade deals, the border, the economy, the revival of the military. I mean, he's got a tremendous record. I mean, if he doesn't win the Nobel Peace Prize, that's a travesty. He's solved like 3 or 4 wars. Yeah. So I think the American people should be very pleased with the job he's doing.
Yeah, somebody says the most controversial yet consequential president ever.
Right.
Well, so who is going to come out of the woodworks and save the DNC?
they are doubling down on stupid. I mean, if I were advising the DNC, I'd say, hey, move to the middle. Moderate. Get yourself away from this wokeism, this leftism, this socialism, this anti-police, anti-Israel, anti-American type of mixture of horrific policies that you've been adopting. Get away from the Trump derangement syndrome. Try to offer something for the American people. Now, I've noticed Gavin Newsom has tried to moderate a little bit. Maybe he sees that as an opening for himself. I know you've got AOC, you've got Pete Buttigieg, you've got Kamala Harris. You've got a cast of horrible characters that could be running for president in 2028. They don't have people like Harry Truman anymore or JFK. They don't have those type of leaders anymore. So I would advise them to move to the middle. They seem to be moving further to the left, Perry. Just look at the guy running for mayor of New York. Just look at Mamdani. Look at him.
It's amazing, and we watch Governor Newsom come. He's just to the south of us here. He's destroyed California. I can't imagine that's not going to be hung on his beak no matter where he goes.
Well, I saw a sort of a prediction of experts as to who they think the nominee is going to go to, and amazingly, he was in first place. So, yeah, I think he's been terrible. He's been great for Arizona and Texas and other states as people leave California.
Interesting. Well, thank you for your time. It's good to see you again. I hope you get some rest. Running a radio station is one thing, but doing all the other things you do is something else.
Well, it's always good to be with you, Perry. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Thank you. Let me say to our viewers, check out his book, America's Last Chance. There's a picture of the cover of the book. You can get that online or go to his website, and that's Croure, CROUERE.net. And that's his website, and there's a picture of the landing page. Stay connected, friend. God bless you.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at Applegate